Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. I am David Sponheim. Good evening, welcome, and thank you for coming into the show. We've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. If you are having problems with the video signal, I urge you to go to our main website. Some of you are having problems in general. Simply click on the link in the chat room. Our main website has the chat room that you're currently in, and it has a better video signal in case you're having problems reaching us, okay? My name is David Sponheim. It's actually pronounced, believe it or not, it's pronounced Spoonheim in some countries, like in Norway, where my family came to America as an immigrant on my father's side in the 1860s from Norway, and originally they were from Germany. In fact, they had migrated to Norway in around 1100 AD, so I have a long history all the way back to Germany. And there's a town in Germany called Sponheim, so it's interesting to know that I do have Germanic heritage and I'm proud of it. It's not something I'm ashamed of. It's not like I changed my name like Trump. His original name was Drumpf, D-R-U-M-P-F, Drumpf. So a lot of things are really coming together in America. Today is Truth Tuesday, so we're looking at the truth, and the truth is we're not doing too well across the globe. The global economy is shrinking. People are biting the bullet financially. It's never been getting better under Obama, and I think everyone realizes it, even the Democrats, and they're afraid to admit it because they don't want to lose power. They want power. They simply are addicted to power, and we've really got a corruption issue. Got a little echoing? Okay. There's a corruption issue going on in America that is not talked about because the mainstream media filters this information. Thank you from Japan. Welcome. We've got new viewers all around the world. This has been really a big word of mouth event, and it's a global event in many ways because I've been censored for 7 years. They've tried to interview me here. I did interviews in front of my house, and they refused to play any of the issues. They would never, ever address the issues. So I've been running this campaign for 7 years against all odds, and it's starting to pay off. The word of mouth that I put in play many years ago, in 2008, I did an impersonation video of Barack Obama in which I did blackface, and I have every right to do that because this is a free country, and there's no reason why people who are living in a free country can't impersonate a president. So this has been the ticket to reaching out across the globe. Believe it or not, it's been the only ticket I could have put into play in 2008 in order to get the word of mouth to bridge the censorship that's currently happening in America. Now, I looked in advance. I saw this chess match that I'm having with the Goliath corporate world, filtering information, defining the talking points in the debates, never touching on the issues like GMOs, which we're against, the idea of vaccinations, forced vaccinations, which we're against. These are talking points that very rarely were talked about. Or all of the fluoridation that's going on in America. We are one of the most fluoridated countries in the world. Seriously. Yeah, GMOs are a huge problem. Vaccines are a huge problem. Fluoridation is a huge problem. Fluoride is now been labeled a neurotoxin. It is considered one of the most dangerous chemicals in our water stream, and the government hasn't done a damn thing to stop it in our water system. Now, there's some kids that like the taste of toothpaste so much that they're swallowing it, and then you wonder why your kids aren't doing well in school. They're essentially being forced into a situation where they can't think. See, fluoride lowers your IQ. Harvard Medical Review did a detailed study of this in 2001 and 2012, and they found out that it lowers your IQ anywhere from 7 to 20 points. So you got to understand, if your kids like the taste of the toothpaste and they're eating it, they're also getting dumber. And this is reversible. So you have to alert yourself to the dangers of fluoride. Filter your water whenever you can. And, rinse your mouth out after using fluoridated toothpaste at the very least. There are other alternatives on the market, so you look for that. But these are issues that are not even touched upon. And the big thing that we are talking about tonight is 9/11. 9/11 is an issue that if you talk about it in the mainstream media, you're like laughed at. You're kicked off shows. Bill O'Reilly will not even discuss any of the truther issues that are still permeating around the world. And you can see how completely filtered and controlled and censored our media has become when they won't even address the glaring problem that the 9/11 Commission didn't even look into explosives when analyzing what took down the trade centers. It's crazy. Of course, explosions were happening. There's countless eyewitness events of this, yet they've completely shunned that. And Donald Trump won't even make a commitment claiming that 9/11 could be an inside job. He was in New York. His good friend was complicit in the unfortunate respiratory crisis that now 50,000 people are facing in New York because they went in as first responders without air masks. Folks, there is going to be a lot of problems on the Vaughn server. We're still working out the kinks, but we are broadcasting a fairly good signal over right now. If you want to go into our America's Third Party click-through, to go to our main site, and you'll see the different video feed is coming in very well. Yeah, the buffer settings set, 768 by 432. This was supposed to be an answer to my problems. According to Meow TV, it's working fine on his end. And we did a lot of spec work prior to the show. But apparently all of Vaughn is having problems, so it's laggy on a lot of different issues. You want to tune me into shortwave? You can certainly do that. Many of you don't realize, but you can take our YouTube videos that are posted nightly and rebroadcast them across the view. We're up to 3 million viewers worldwide. Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it. You can go ahead and broadcast our show, multicast it. It's your way of expressing yourself. Everybody has the option of doing that. Nobody will be charged with copyright infringement. I want this message to get out. It's super important. Well, he's up against a bigger problem than he'll ever imagine. I am a person who has recognized the problems in our country and has a series of solutions that'll help fix them. We've built a platform for our nation to survive the economic depression that we're heading into. All the countries are going to be heading into it. One of the things I recognized was the Federal Reserve is part of the World Bank and their control over our entire world banking scenario. And the Federal Reserve is a private corporation, like Ron Paul exposed in his book, End the Fed. But they are more than that. They're actually forcing our nation into global wars, connected directly to the IMF. Even our activity in Syria and Ukraine can be attributed to our financial relationship with the World Bank. As a nation, we can survive. Any nation around the world can survive simply by relying on their own resources. But if you rely on a global world authority, like so many people are thinking we should, that's a recipe for failure. It's failed every single time. Anytime somebody tries to take control of the world, it's been an utter failure. But the nation-state model continues to succeed. So every nation is going to have to go through this contraction period because these global elitists have been borrowing money at such a rapid rate against any real reality of austerity going on. Like in Greece, there's a tremendous problem. And they absolutely don't even know what they're going to do, these elitists. So they keep printing up money, and it creates more and more problems around the world for everybody. Printed money, credit money, creates an interest crisis. Now, when all of us in America are writing your IRS checks, and actually 50% of you are paying taxes, the other 50 are not because you're violating any laws, it's just you don't have enough work coming in and you have enough earned income credits to not even pay taxes. But the reality is 50% who are paying taxes, that check goes right to the Treasury, and the Treasury gives it to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve gives it to the World Bank. It goes right into the hands of elitists who are literally operating an interest Ponzi scheme where they make money on interest. Hey, Sarah, do you want to get that? I don't have the phone in here. No. I'm a big deal. So we are aware of this little scam going on at the World Bank and how our country is connected at the hip through the Federal Reserve. And we're going to try to end the Federal Reserve, but we can't just end it. We have to retire their charter. There's a whole series of things that have to go on. We have to work with Congress, the left and the right, and try to forge a solution. And we can, using the Federal Reserve Act, buy out their charter and end their position here. But more importantly, we need a separate bank to move forward, and that's where I come in. I believe that we can build an infrastructure bank that will run parallel to the Federal Reserve and really help American companies get the money they need to get products on the market and help hire U.S. citizens at a living wage of $15 an hour. So that's a big step in the right direction, which I don't think we're getting from the Fed right now. They're not even giving the money directly to U.S. businesses. They've been loaning it out to just too big to fail companies that sit there and play with it, invest in Dubai and other countries without even understanding the importance of building American jobs. I'm not upset. Everything's good. I know a lot of you need a future, but you also don't want to fall flat on your face when you have nothing. You want a backup in the event something does happen. And I want that too. I want our country to have a very robust survival backup through FEMA. Now, since 2001, I believe, FEMA has been operated out of the Department of Homeland Security. It's a subsidiary now. And it's simply unnecessary to be a subsidiary of the Department of Homeland Security. In fact, DHS, which didn't exist pre-911, is costing this nation $60 billion a year. So there's big, huge problems that are not being addressed here. FEMA doesn't have regional food supplies. They don't have any preparations in a big way for disasters. They don't have a solution to get food and water to people in time of need, like when Katrina happened, when the Superdome was filled with people that were literally living in their own feces and urine. And it's like our country doesn't seem to get its act together. FEMA is obviously evil because they've got FEMA camps around the country with fencing around them, which need to be pulled down. Now, our country needs a fence along the southern border for obvious reasons. A threat of attack from other countries. We should have done this a long time ago, when I first suggested it in 2008. But now it's become a big issue nationally, so my idea was already presented by Donald Trump, claiming it was his idea. The 1,000-mile idea I came up with in 2008, and I guarantee that it will secure our border. I've done the measurements. But we can't just build a wall. We can't have Mexico pay for it. I'll be casting well into the future. Oh, yeah. I'm committed caster to the idea of running into 2020's election as well. Oh, yeah, this is just the beginning. But the people that are running our country are the ones that crafted our debt notes. The people that stand behind the U.S. dollar, in fact, are backing it with their confidence that their scam will work. Well, when their scam starts to run dry, we don't have any solutions. I want robust solutions for this country in the event of a disaster. I want to get food and water to people regardless of limitations. So, yeah, we have a pretty interesting idea to get food and water to people. But unfortunately, it's seemingly gone from my library. Not sure. Oh, here it is. Thank you. Doing an editing on the show. This is what I would rather get to the people of this country in the event of a disaster. All right? Let's go ahead and listen to what's going on. Lag, total freeze. Okay, we are being literally attacked right now on our show. The elitists know that we are already growing rapidly because of the word of mouth that I put in play, and they're using every means possible to try to suppress me. This has been going on for some time, and believe me, we've had a battle through this on a nightly basis for at least, I would say, 7 years. So if you see this going on during the show and you're saying, why aren't you broadcasting somewhere else? It's because there is no other way we can get out until we reach a better network than this. My show's doing great. Good. Well, I'm about ready to add another network to the lineup. So I'm going to go see how that works. See if we can do this. Okay. Yeah, I can't do that. All right, good to know. It's the address of my records. Yeah. I try to minimize it, but yeah, we had to publish our records when we ran in 2008 locally, full disclosure had to be made. So wherever we kept our records, it had to be presented. And there is no safety and security on that note. Public disclosure requires us to keep that address out there. But it's the place where we keep our records. Yeah, I'm not going to say exactly what else it is. But there's a lot of questions as to why there's so much anger and just overall people struggling economically right now. And I think it's simply because we don't have any accountability from our government. And we don't have any freedom either. You think you're free until you exert your freedom, and then all of a sudden you don't have freedom. So this is a real problem. Hey, hello to all my supporters. Dave, are you cool with supporters stopping by to say hello? No. No, we live in a very private neighborhood, and there's no way I would ever, in any way. Hang on just a second, I want to copy this. I would never allow anyone to come to my home. You'd be charged with, bothering me, essentially. Yeah. I could get a restraining order against you. Any number of things. Okay, Ted, that link doesn't work. Yeah. Local TV will not interview me. No, they've already interviewed me at Cairo TV, and they were unable to get an interview published. Other than about 12 seconds of me responding to an attack on our personal residence when the SWAT teams came about 7.5 months ago. We have not had any mainstream media coverage, but they've got about 30 minutes of footage of me talking to all these people in front of the American people, and they haven't really played any of it. So, yeah. It could be censoring, you're right. But this is like a behavior, a threat behavior. These are the thugs running our country who are asking their trolls to come in and try to stop us. And that's what we're dealing with right now. Trolls working for thugs. And I actually have been aware of people getting paid to troll us. I've talked to people who've received money just to troll us, and they said, David, I just want to tell you that, for a long time I was receiving money to troll you. Real politicians will not recognize me because obviously I've got much more abilities than they do. I can think faster on my feet. I don't have the restrictions of having to read off a teleprompter like Barack Obama or Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump reached out to AIPAC recently. A Jewish organization, the Jewish Israeli American Political Action Committee. And Donald Trump is trying to solicit money from these people, just like Hillary and all the others. And I will not take money from AIPAC. I will not even go there. Now, he used a teleprompter at AIPAC. He wanted to make sure he defined everything he said in written form so he didn't make any mistakes. But the reality is, Donald Trump is obviously a Zionist. He supports a greater, more elitist control over our world, and he's certainly catering to them in Israel. Now, I do want to protect Israel in the event they're ever attacked with air power. I will protect them as your president. But we will never send ground troops into that region, and we will never engage in any type of a war escalation on the ground. I will not do that. Now, that's no way going to inhibit Israel from defending themselves, because they've already got, no doubt they have a nuclear weapon. But they've never committed to actually having a nuclear weapon. So what I'm going to do is ask Israel to sign the nuclear non-proliferation agreement in order to continue receiving money. We cannot possibly allow anyone, like any country like Israel, to receive funding like $3.5 billion. I guess they want $7 billion now, unless they sign a nuclear non-proliferation agreement, which basically says that they have nuclear weapons and they don't want to use them unless they're attacked. I mean, it's a very simple thing. It won't be that big of a deal for them to actually talk about it, that issue. But I want to keep an open relationship, much better than Barack Obama, with the leaders of Israel. But in no way do I want to cater to the funding coming out of the American Israeli Political Action Committee. Okay, let's take a look at this. Mississippi governor signs a law allowing service denial to gays. So if you're a business owner, you're going to be allowed to say no to gays at the door. It allows religious groups and some private businesses to refuse service to gay couples based on religious beliefs. All right, Governor Phil Bryant putting his 2 bits in to try to make sure that gays can not necessarily go into businesses. And it also limits the issue of who hires gays as well. Now, as you know, I'm against violations of anti-discrimination laws at a government level. But I'm of the belief that the 10th Amendment kicks in here and gives the governor the ability to actually stop or allow businesses to bring gays in or out. You know, there's a lot of examples of this in reality. I mean, you could have a transgender person coming into a... thanks. You can have a transgender person coming into a business and want to become a waitress. And mom and pop are going, honey, we got a good restaurant here. We got a lot of clientele. I don't know if they're going to like this woman, transgender as a waitress, honey. It could affect their business. So, I mean, you can see where private businesses might be affected. Or lesbians running a massage parlor for just women. There's a couple places in the country that women go to, and they have massages with other women, and it's mostly lesbian. And there's absolutely no reason why we can't allow those businesses to make those delineations. So we're going to go ahead and turn off guest chat for a while until we can get rid of some of the trolls once they realize that it's out of their control. No pun intended. But we have much more at stake here. What they can't understand, folks, is the reason why they're trolling me so hard, is they can't understand why I keep growing, why the numbers keep coming in, why they keep people want to see our show. Because we've got great ideas for the country, and around the world they're listening, and they like what they hear. That's exactly what's going on. Okay, so this is the big thing. We really support the idea of the dollar being the world currency. But we have to be a nation that leads by example. We can't just sit around and keep printing up money and expect to gain the respect of other countries. We have to be a leader in production in areas that they themselves will enjoy, like clean, green technologies that will make people's air and water cleaner to breathe and to drink. So these are areas where I really want to make the dollar stronger. But in no way do I want to depart from the dollar. No way do I want digital currency to take over. Cash is still king. Under my definition, we will always work with cash as king as a principle. I will never look toward RFID chipping, the idea of a digital currency. That's something Hillary or Bernie might consider, or Donald. I will never do that. All right. It is an illusion, but it's also something you can get as a conveyance. It's a good conveyance. In fact, you can go into a market or any kind of like Best Buy. You can go shopping for a TV. $500 will still get you a very nice 50-inch TV. So money is still worth something. Now, you may think money's worthless. I think it's maybe worth less as the inflation continues to grow at the markets across the globe. But it is not worthless. It's a viable social contract, absolutely. It is considered a debt note, though. And because the Federal Reserve has leveraged a lot of the U.S. gold against the debt note, we've lost track of where our gold is. The Federal Reserve knows where our gold is. People like Karen Hudas, a former attorney for the World Bank who's now fighting them, she knows where the gold is. We've got nearly $40 trillion in gold from the Japanese and the German during the war. We've acquired that, and it's still at the World Bank in trust for us. So when people say we've got a $19 trillion plus debt, half of that that entire debt could be erased by that 40 trillion, and we'd still have more money to boot if we could pull the Fed, extract it from our society and our form of economy. So restructuring our debt is at the very core of how we're going to get the economy rolling. The nice thing is we have an economy, and it's a really strong service economy. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
This is Sarah. Let me bring her in. She helped me write the book. Together we wrote the book. We wrote it over 2 years.
Yeah, and it's up there. You can read it now.
Yeah, I've got some Twitters coming in, Roger. Thank you. Apparently, it's working. The word of mouth work that I put into our show back in 2008. I knew that we would be censored, and I made some major decisions. It's actually working really well now. Across the globe, we're getting hundreds of thousands of viewers, according to some. I don't know how much we really are getting, but at least it's working. I do believe it is working. All right. We are experiencing lag, though, on the network, so I've directed people to our website. Yeah, which you have definitely put.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that. I don't even know
That's
what that
funny. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
A blank
Don't
thing.
click that link. That was
it.
somebody sent me that link, and I didn't know it wasn't working. Yeah, I'm not wasting my time at all. In fact, everything's working for me. You know, when the going gets good, it's great. But when the going gets tough, a lot of people dig in, and that's what Sarah and I did. Okay, no lag where you are. You're on a terabyte per second. Good. Some people have lag. I don't know what to say about the Vaughn servers, but again, go to http www.americasthirdparty.com and you will get better quality. This is the lowest quality video you've seen since you've been watching. Can you try looking at other channels? Because what we did was we dropped our resolution from 768. Yeah. See what we're coming up with here? It's pretty dithered. And I'm not even broadcasting on that network right there. I couldn't get in.
Oh, you couldn't get in?
No.
Oh.
The video is pixelated, right?
Issues.
So you're getting video pixelated or lag, one or the other. You know, the USA has been working on the backbone of Tor through what appears to be the Tor servers were compromised when they got some sort of a virus. So when we say that, you know, they're working on funding it, I have no idea what they're doing with the Tor servers. Well, frankly, if you think I'm a troll magnet, you must understand that I'm really good at what I do. And hey, Shrek, welcome.
Yeah, it's a bit pixelated, but
it's not. It's pixelated, and your video feed is not as good as your YouTube feed. We haven't checked the YouTube feed yet, but we're hoping one of those feeds is solid. But either way, we are still battling an unbelievable tide of questions about why we need a third party. So many people are resistant to the idea of a third party because they've been voting Democrat, Republican all their lives, and they refuse to think that it's their party's fault. But the reality is, the two-party system is failing in every way. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. That was last night's video.
Yeah, where's someone?
Yeah, I don't know. See what you can find it. That looked pretty good, though, the upload from last night. We're going to test the upload tonight on our show and see how that comes in. Thank you, doggy style. Nice of you to say. Well, welcome, Grandpa. Your grandpa's watching? So it's the same pixelation at AmericasThirdParty.com? Okay, yeah. Well, let's see if we can improve that right now during the show. So I can go to that network right there and then take quality up to, say, 10. I mean, I can do it manually.
Okay.
And I'm going to change the bit rate over there to 650. And then I'm going to go off of that network and then back on again. Let me see if that, let's do a test here and see if that makes a difference. Okay, I'm doing that. I don't have a deep, dark, disturbing secret, never have. You know, I'm a completely transparent person. And there's been nothing in my background that needs to, you know, worry about skeletons in the closet not happening. Even my dispute with my sister is public knowledge, and she recently sent me a wonderful video. I'm going to play it for you real quick here. She's in the country of Mexico, and she's really a world traveler all around the country. She's been visiting people, and she wrote me a little video. I want to play a little bit of it. This is my sister Connie.
Hello, it's April 1st, 2016, and this is Connie Sponheim, sister to David Sponheim, who is of America's Third Party. He and Sarah are working together to put him on the ballot, and I'd like you to write him in. This film is to redact anything I may have said years ago when I had an interview with a gentleman from the Midwest, and I don't quite recall what I said, but I may have been a little upset at my brother at the time, and that was long ago. He's a very rational, very logical, good guy, caring man, full of ideas. I really respect him, and I hope that you write him in, because he's a good candidate for the job. And I wanted to make this film just to make sure that you know that he's on the level, smart, has terrific ideas to make this country the country that I remember long ago, and it's been slipping away from us very, very, very incrementally in a slow fashion, which is that's how they work. That's how communism and fascists work. They pull it out very slowly, our rights and so forth. They're trying, but legally they can't do anything, because cannot be infringed means just that, cannot be infringed, all of that. And we have a constitution. It may have been corporatized, but it's still there, and we haven't been told anything different, because we have to have agreed to anything new that this so-called government has put into place, or it's not a legal binding contract. Nothing is. And we know that we have the Constitution, and that's what we go by. That's what we...
Yeah, and my sister's a constitutionalist. And she's also a libertarian in heart, and she really, wants to help, in any way she can. And she gave me that little video because,
better.
Okay, we've got a better feed for you over at the.
Maybe you should do that on the other one too.
I'll do it here, but I'd have to drop off this network.
Yeah.
I also don't want to get past 80. See, we're working on this number here.
Oh.
See, it was at 99.
Yeah, but it's been running.
Yeah, but we have been hearing that our computer's been running at 99% CPU power, and okay, I'm going to go ahead and it should not be frozen over there. No, she was not reading off a teleprompter. That's just not true. She's very extemporaneous.
Yeah.
That was from her heart, and she really does believe that what we're doing is the right thing. And
yeah, that's much better though.
We've got a much better signal. Go ahead and click the link and copy it, and we'll just keep pasting it for people. There you go. She's in Mexico. She's traveling. Yeah. So anyway, the thing about our country is we as a nation haven't really redressed key issues. The two parties have been unable to pass a budget in 7 years. It's ridiculous. The two parties continue to wastefully spend, and tomorrow's Wasteful Wednesday. We'll talk about more specifics in lieu of the wasteful spending, but they can never cut their expenses because the two parties are tied at the hip to corporate America and to their donation train, their $50,000 a plate dinner train. Those people want something in return for $50,000 a plate, and that's why our country is so constantly being drained by these corporate contracts that keep getting regenerated, because the two-party system wants to keep getting elected. So the American voter has got to make a big move here in this election and separate and learn to spell my name. And I'm going to put my name on the screen for you. And it's not that difficult for people to learn how to spell.
S-P-O-N-H-E-I-N.
Yeah. My name is pretty simple once you learn how to spell it. And David Sponheim is all you really need to do in the general election, and there's a good possibility I'll be up against Trump there too. If the Republicans push the Trumpster out of running for contention, and they can do that, we need to look at the write-in candidates, because the Republicans are becoming completely ineffective. They can't even handle their own party politics because they're not even touching down on all the issues that are flying in front of you right now. The issues that you're seeing right now are important to the American people, but in many ways they're just being ignored by the mainstream media. No, clothes are all good. Clothes are good. Not sure what you mean by getting rid of clothes.
We're not going to ban them, and we're not going to mandate them.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. We won't mandate them.
The reason why our
yeah,
we will mandate clothes as long as you're walking outside your house.
Well, some places you can walk outside without certain clothes on.
I know. Yeah, you can. There's like nudist colonies that people go to.
I've heard even in like San Francisco, people can walk around topless.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. There's a woman that runs around New Hampshire every year, totally topless, and she claims that women have the right to go topless too because,
Hex Tate, thanks for working on getting David on the ballot. Yes.
Thank you.
We need you to collect signatures, so thank you for doing that. Yes.
This is the quality we're getting on Vaughn. Yeah, it's pretty pixelated.
Yes, it is.
What I will do for all of you on Vaughn,
we'll come back right back.
We're going to give you a quick stop, and I'm going to come back with better quality. Hang on. Okay, I think it's the ultra fast. I've got to come back off the ultra fast.
It has to be 650.
It is 650.
Okay.
And this is at ultra fast. I'm going to take it back down to very fast
and
default.
That quality should be 10.
No, it was at 5 yesterday.
Okay.
So we can change it to 10. Let's take it up to 7.
Okay.
Okay.
That'll work. I'll check it.
Hang on. And hit refresh. Okay, we're actually adjusting the video signal on Vaughn. Thank you, Ted. We're on air again. Please check it out. So if you are a person who wants to, be completely free and not walk around with clothes on, just close your doors and walk around the house, okay? As long as, you're completely within your own private area. But I do not want individual mandates. I'm not in any way going to address the issue of nakedness in public. That's a different subject. You're better? Okay, better, Dave. Thanks, Ted. 10 times better. Okay, so the real culprit there, Scissor Fight, on our network was we were running at ultra fast as opposed to very fast, which is the recommended setting. We were tweaking the settings earlier. Hey, Ping Ching Chong.
That's better.
Ping Ching Chong is in. Hi, Ping Ching Chong. A lot better.
Still a little dithered, but...
A little dithered, but we're doing well.
But at least it's better and you're still at...
Yay, we have success. Okay, and we are still broadcasting on YouTube. This is good. But the video is a little fuzzy. Well, we found that our CPU is running at 99%, and that was creating lag on our end. So it's a balancing act, getting the bit frame rate down, getting everything quality-wise to roll out. We've got a good signal, and we're going to be breaking our show into other multicasts on various networks coming up. This is our Easter plan. When Sarah took her vacation, I said, let's do this. Okay, Pete Cheng, I don't have the ability to actually translate your statement, but I'm going to open up that ability real quick. And we're going to have to ban somebody for saying some bad things in here. Don't say bad things about anyone. That's nasty.
No, we use a i7.
Yeah, we have a pretty good processor. We looked at Panama. Yeah, it looked like the Panama Papers were, in fact, a kind of a ruse to direct our attention away from what's really happening. Greetings from China. I have a vacation because now I work in a factory since January. My third son is the project leader training in the assembly plant. Wow. Nice. So your whole family's bringing income into your Ping Ching Chong is here. You got an i7. We got a second generation i7.
The Panama Papers you think is so dangerous that you can't send it to us? We were reading about it on the internet last night.
Yeah, we kind of think it's more likely a plant. It's designed to make something, it's a diversion of some sort. We're not quite sure what the Panama Papers really exist, whether they're even real or not. If they are real, they may just be keeping our attention from the other real conspiracies that may be happening in the world.
I don't remember my GPU.
Yeah, we're not sure what the Panama Papers are at this point. We're still digesting that information. No, I haven't tried Beetle.com, Sir Waffles. Yeah, looks like a popular place. We'll check it out later. Thank you. Yeah.
Well,
interesting.
I would like to go.
I don't grow pot plants. It's illegal to grow unless you're licensed in the state of Washington. And technically, they're illegally growing nationally. So, San Diego's vaping congressman gets caught spending campaign money on video game downloads. Blames his son. Wow. I am going viral in Wisconsin. Yay, cheese tester. Right on, everybody. Well, you guys have been wondering who and why David Sponheim has been taking so long to get to you. We have been censored for the past 7 years by our mainstream media. It's a known fact that they interviewed me at least 3 years ago, and then again last year, or in 2014 they interviewed me, and they didn't play any of the videos that I gave them. None whatsoever. So it's like they don't want to talk about the issues from a third-party perspective. So in a country that claims to be free and democratic, we've got an incredibly censored media. And there's arguments that say that the CIA has been running our media. I just showed a guy who was a person working for one of the networks in Germany, and he claimed he was a non-official cover for the CIA, and he says every journalist out there is a non-official cover for the CIA. The whole thing seems so weird. So the American people are under the illusion that we've got a free press. Many of you don't have any idea. I will rock the 2016 election. You got to get behind this. I got to tell you, folks, you can write my name in. It's that simple. I mean, we literally, the voters can rebel, and we can get 34% of the election, of the popular vote, and with enough electors in place, we could win the Electoral College vote in 2016. You've got terrible lag now? Well, we fixed the lag problem on our end.
Who is that?
It may be the Vaughn network. Try our other network here. What's that?
Who is that new player? Somebody Windsor?
His name is Galen Windsor, and Galen Windsor is an interesting character. If you ever want to, look him up, he actually was the top radiation expert at the Hannaford nuclear waste dump here in Washington State, and it's been many years since he died, but he lived to be 88 years old, and he claimed that nuclear radiation was not as dangerous as we think it is. Now, Meow's still here. Meow TV was a first responder at Chernobyl, and he's a guy on our show right now, first responder in April of 1984, and he's still hanging in there. So I think the concern we have about radiation in general may be a little bit way over dramatized. Yeah, but I do believe that the life itself in the Pacific Ocean is being jeopardized by the radiation coming from Fukushima. So in no way do I want to make it seem like Fukushima is no big deal. It really is a big deal. And I got to tell you that that's something that we want to deal with, and I have a plan to fix Fukushima working with Japan, because Obama has done nothing. But the rumors at this point are that the radiation itself is way over dramatized in terms of danger for our species directly. Okay? In other words, x-rays at your dentist are not going to kill you. All right? And Galen Windsor did a lot of research on this. He was an expert, and he was the one that actually swam in tanks of water that were being heated by the plutonium cooling rods, or the spent fuel rods. He actually swam in that water, and he drank the water, and he still lived to be 88 years old. This is a fact. I'm not making any of this up. So as we're concerned about radiation, we don't need to be over concerned. That was my big point tonight. I'm going to step out and get some more coffee. You get to talk to Sarah.
Yeah, have some dinner.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Good. Yes. Okay. Always working. Always working. I think we're all too stressed out with, like, we have to be doing the next big thing all the time, and none of us just take time to rest and relax. And if we do, it ends up being we're consumers, and we're using the computer or watching TV, and I think a lot of us don't get enough sleep. I think I'm one of those people that don't get enough sleep. So, sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure why the freezing is happening, but I guess it is. I guess I'll try to keep my face in a permanent great facial expression. No, I won't be posing for Hustler magazine. That won't be happening. Hello, Nicole. You're going to trust that radiation is great when David starts to consume radioactive material, which I don't think will ever happen. Sometimes I get frustrated by it, American tradition, just because there's so much pressure to push the students to do so much, but if I don't succumb to that pressure, and I just look at it as having a great impact on students, then I do enjoy teaching. And sometimes it's not about how great they're going to do on a particular high stakes test at the end of the year. It's more about how they interact with each other, and whether they believe in themselves, and whether they take responsibility for their actions, and trying to get them to think deeply. That's definitely difficult. Think about why things are the way they are is definitely difficult. Oh no, I don't drink at all. My favorite subject is math. In fact, today I didn't have to teach, so I spent about 3 hours watching MIT open courseware. I ended up watching like a little bit of calculus. It was their lesson 18.01, so it was about derivatives, and I really enjoy that. I really do. And I was like, oh, I remember, there's certain things that were coming back to me, and I was like, oh, maybe I could go back and teach some of these kinds of things. Am I an Amish teacher? No, I'm not an Amish teacher. I need to fix that clock. I know, it's stuck at the time all the time. It says the same time. Oh, I'll let you contribute to Greenpeace. Yeah, I was told that there was a rumor in my family. I don't know if we've ever said for sure, but there was a rumor that I was related to Chief Red Cloud of the Sioux tribe. So that's a rumor, but I'm not officially Native American. Yes, sometimes there is a parallel. There's a parallel. Everything is about relationships in life. So there's always relationships, building friendships. Listening to people is very important. I have high cheekbones like a Native American. I have not killed any insects lately. I try to rescue them and put them outside. So I actually pick up the little the ants and things. So actually last time I was in the classroom, there's some ants because there was some student had left a snack or something, and I had them, we swept them up and went and took them and put them outside in the grass. There's Montague in your blood, like Romeo. You're very romantic. Okay. Oh, thank you, Planet X. No, thanks. Oh, you get cheeks like this if you wear your Batman mask for too long? That's funny. Why would I be the best first lady ever? I think one of the things that I would focus on primarily as first lady is housing. I think housing is just so important to people, and I think that encouraging people to be healthy as well. But I think that if people don't have a place to stay, they become so despondent and so depressed and so frustrated. And so I believe that would be what really, really important, is to bring not only that awareness to the housing issue, but actually go out and build some housing with some people. That would be very fun. Not just ever, but always, Rodney, always. I do like trying different cheese. I would say that cheeses does not have an apostrophe. And I think cheese is plural, one cheese or many cheese, so there's no apostrophe S. There's no cheeses. Unless you're talking about the cheese's aroma. So, anyway. All right. Iraq has Alright, thank you, Frankie. I will click on that. Hello, Ronnie! Did you not see me say hello to you earlier or something? Alright. US or uranium is to blame for deformed. Is US or uranium to blame for deformed babies in Fallujah? It could be the Zika virus. Mongoose, maybe. That's what I would say. Sorry. Try. Our website. I can't promise that I won't be freezing there as well. Mongoose plural is mongoose. Yeah, that would make sense. Moose and moose. Oh. No, David never eats bugs. Alright. Deer, right. Moose, mongoose, mongoose. That would make sense. It was mongoose, but no one believed it. Oh, what? Moongoose, really? You want to come over and eat dinner with us and live with us. I don't think David would, I know, would go for that. Alright, so here's the thinking on Common Core. I won't speak to the reading and writing right now because that seems to be a little bit, I'll say the reading and writing, at least for me, seems to be a little bit more difficult to teach. I guess because it's I guess you can use any material to teach it. There we go. Like you can use, it talks about reading, and you can use any book to teach those reading skills. So that's a little bit different. I will talk to you a little bit about the Common Core math. And so, yes, very critically reading, and the writing is, I think it takes a lot. I don't think that students are going to be at grade level per se of what they expect students to be, at least in the younger grades. I think that the Common Core basically was designed because if you look at what happens with the colleges, in the college system, the students are accepted into the colleges, and then when they get accepted into the colleges, it ends up being that they actually have to take remedial courses in both writing and in reading and math in order to actually perform at a college level. And so then the Common Core was developed to say, well, the standards that the schools have obviously aren't what students need to perform at a college level. So now pushing more and more down further and further, so that it's in order to better prepare students for college. Now, is college what every student needs to succeed in life? Will every student go to college? Does this put unnecessary stress on students to think that they should all perform very highly on these levels? Especially like you see some of the people that we look up to in recent decades for being very successful had little to no college. Richard Branson has 0 years of college. Steve Jobs went to college for 1 year and dropped out. Bill Gates went to college for 2 years. I'm not going to say Steve Jobs dropped out. I should say decided no longer attend. Bill Gates also did that 2 years. So I would say that David's a similar example of someone that's chosen that college was not the best fit for them. And I think that there's a lot of pressure on students to prepare them for this college. And then there's a lot of pressure on teachers to prepare the students for it. And it's very stressful. But I mean, I like the standards. I think they're, when I was, like I said today, I was looking at MIT OpenCourseWare, and I was looking at, an entrance calculus class.
Yeah.
And in order to do the level of math that is required for calculus, and you really need to have basic calculus in order to be the technicians of tomorrow.
You do, yeah.
They do have to have rigorous standards at 4th grade. Kids have to know fractions by 4th grade and know them well in order to be able to do the calculus in their freshman year. The big thing is that it is about getting students to be critical readers and think deeply, and sometimes the kids are not ready for that. They're so used to being coddled and having their hand held that it's very difficult for them to answer the question, well, why did that happen in the story? Or
yeah,
why is that?
They're not good critical thinkers right now. And kids today are just they're overwhelmed with the stimuli. The bombarding information video games are putting out. So our schools are asking for more from the kids, and the kids are seemingly struggling, right?
The students are really struggling, and there's a lot of pressure, and it's extremely difficult to teach all of the material that is required at the level that requires the deeper understanding of the material. It's difficult to teach all of the material that's required for each grade level in the amount of time allotted.
Yeah, right. Somebody asked about our seawater pipeline. I wanted to bring that in and show you guys. This is an original idea that Sarah and I came up with back in 2005, and we are convinced from our experiment that we can get up anywhere from 3 to 10 gallons per unit per day out of these desalination chambers. And one of the things that we want to do is get fresh water to areas that are not right now getting water, like the drought-stricken California desert area, mid-California, the Kern County area. Plus, bringing in seawater and allowing it to desalinate is a plan that's absolutely makes sense. We've got the ability to make lots of plastic. We've got companies out there that like to fabricate lots of plastic, like Dow. Dow is putting together a resin share company in Houston, employing 2,000 people. I mean, they make resin shares. Like, we really don't need that many more resin shares on the planet, but we do need desalination chambers. So this is a concept that actually is brand new. And we've been working on our lag on our end, by the way, and we've solved it on our end. But the problem is Vaughn's limiting access to people right now. And I recommend you go to AmericasThirdParty.com to fix that. All right, so creating a solution for America is really kind of at the core of our plan for this country. And a water solution for California is great. And we could implement about a 200-mile line that will provide 250,000 gallons of fresh water a day. And that's something that we can build in 6 months with mass production. So we can also export these around the world, and countries like China could even duplicate it. We wouldn't seek patent control over this. This is not something we're trying to get international patent rights on. We simply want you to use a Creative Commons licensing and give it to everybody. Let them roll with it, and make these things so well made that they will literally create fresh water no matter what happens on Earth. No matter what the changes in the weather is, we'll have fresh water. And that's the secret to sustaining a strong population. All right, getting back to what you're saying about kids and the struggles they're facing. Yeah. So you have a real-time experience going on in life. You've got an experiment happening every day, and you're seeing it play out. It's frustrating. Kids are overwhelmed right now with lots of things.
They're stressed out.
Yep. So somebody was saying, what do you stand for? Obviously, they wanted to know. We want to build renewable energy solutions that will solve the country's problems. This is an idea that I have, a vertical windmill on top of power lines. It's an interesting idea, and it could certainly provide a backbone of electricity in the event something happens. We've got a click here from Windows, update notification. Muscles in on a digital billboard proves there's no escape. I wonder what this is about. Let's take a look at this.
It's just saying that they had a digital billboard, right?
Yeah.
The video was going in that on top of the billboard said, Windows update, you need to update your, like, it popped up on top of the screen.
Oh.
That was intended to be a
digital billboard that's on top of a building.
Billboard.
Look at that. It's right on a building, and they still can't get their Windows. You know, every few minutes my computer, or every time I start up, we have this Windows 10 reminder that we should all, join Windows 10. We haven't done it because we don't want our computer to be stressed out anymore with extra RAM being used. But apparently there is a hack online that prevents that screen browser or that pop-up reminder that Windows 10 needs to be installed on your computer. It's out there if you look for it. And I haven't put it on our computer yet. Okay, we've got Iceland's prime minister resigns amid Panama Papers fallout. Okay, so something's happening with Panama Papers. It looks kind of fake what's happening to me. I don't know.
fake.
Well, I'm not really sure what to make of the Panama Papers release. It looks like they're putting out something to kind of divert our attention for some reason. I don't know why I get that feeling.
I don't know, unless they're trying to divert to maybe the only thing I can think
It really
of
seems
is
like this standoff that was really going on in Reykjavik throughout the better part of the day has now, I wouldn't say been decided, but certainly all parties have come together and seem to have worked something out at least. There was a statement that we've gotten from the deputy head of the Progressive Party, which is the party that the Prime Minister is also a part of, saying that the Prime Minister will resign, but that he will stay in place as the leader of the Progressive Party. So.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not really following Icelandic politics right now, but yeah, thanks for sharing that link. Yeah. You got a housing plan? Okay, yeah, here's the small house movement is growing in America, and people want to move into small houses, but HUD is starting to categorize these things as trailers. So here across the world, people are trying to cut their heating costs and live efficiently, especially with the economy the way it is. Well, let's see, Rick Clune, Executive Director of the Center City Housing, stands at the entryway of the new micro house, a 336 square foot home built in Duluth's Central Hillside neighborhood. Cool. Micro homes are starting to take shape in America. Yeah. Well, good. That's good to know. Duluth, Minnesota. Yeah. Whew. Well, actually, armed guards won't be needed to guard the seawater pipeline. It'll be completely surrounded by a force field generated from liquid hydrogen. I didn't want to get into the specifics right now, but there will be plenty of electricity. Don't worry. Once we start splitting the water molecules, we are going to have tons of electricity. So yeah, anticipate a force field. Thank you. All right, Dave, thank you. Sarah.
I'll be back.
Yeah. And there's dinner on the stove for you too.
Oh, I just had some.
Huh?
A little bit.
Well, no, I mean, the rest of it's yours. Go for it. Help yourself. Get a good meal. She's recovering from her bout with the flu. Okay, folks, if you're having problems getting into the show, go to our main website. We're coming in pretty clean over in the BCAM network. Our signal is good, solid. So Vaughn, we've noticed, has been having some real issues, and we don't want that to happen for you. You deserve a good signal, and you can chat in that room too. Vaughn's there as well, the chat room. All right. A guy named his restaurant Hillary. Nobody goes there. Oh, wow. Wow, that's serious. $50,000 affordable homes. Well, yeah, these homes right here that we're going to talk about in just a second are, well, they are remakes of houses across the country that we can buy for under $10,000. And once we get them to this level with a 30-year roof, either vinyl siding or a really good paint job, and every time we look at a house, we'll look at the bones and make sure that the insulation is not molded. We'll do every check to meet code in the state that we're currently in. And we will make these houses into brand new houses for another $10,000 investment, including money to you and people that want to work in the program, $10 an hour. And we'll be able to put out a really nice house. And you'll be able to buy it for $50,000. The government makes a portion of that profit. We don't know where the mark will be for labor. I'm looking at round numbers, but I'm thinking a $50,000, flip that house for the U.S. government, so we can keep flipping houses and getting people more into housing and establishing a sustainable economy. Because obviously if you have your house and it's paid for eventually, now you can pay for your house in 10 years with this plan. $500 a month payments. You'll be able to own that. And the government even factors in interest out of that. So we'll make money in interest. There won't be an intermediary bank. It'll be a direct loan to the infrastructure bank. We're going to put together a government backbone to our economic rebuild. I'm not going to rely on corporate involvement. The more Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan are involved in this remake, the more it infests the opportunity for this to make money back. You know, people don't know it, but when you handle your welfare, JP Morgan makes 6% on welfare checks. When you handle your food stamps, Morgan Stanley makes 6% on your food stamps. They make that money. And if you are currently if our government is selling a treasury bond, Goldman Sachs makes 6% on that treasury bond. That's how much leaching is going on out of the money that's currently operating at the top. That's why our country isn't working. Because too big to fail companies and big Wall Street executives like Donald Trump keep padding their pockets. It's a simple fact. They're not spreading the wealth. But then you get the socialist Bernie Sanders, and he doesn't even know what's going on. He doesn't even know the structure of our government, that we are actually operating under two legal vessels. One is the United States of America, and the other is the United States Corporation. And the United States Corporation is operating in place of the United States of America. And Bernie doesn't even know this. Bernie has no clue as to how the government is operating, so he's not the guy for the job. He's just a raging socialist. Okay, the DDoSers ISPs have been notified. Thank you. Well, thanks for handling it. Yeah. We knew there was something going on. Yeah, and people coming into the show, Metallic Mentalist says Vaughn is blocking users who don't pay for VIP. Yeah, but people know that if they keep hitting refresh, they'll get back in. All right. What would you like me to talk about, 674? I mean, what's on your mind? You seem to be upset at me for some reason. You don't like me talking negatively about your idol, Bernie? You don't want to talk about Bernie, who has one really nice vehicle, I'll tell you. He bought one really nice car. I was impressed. Yeah, Bernie in his Audi R8, a wonderful car that this socialist wants to, this is a guy who likes money. It's pretty nice. It's an R8 Audi, $175,000 car. Bob, I'm going to ban you from the show because we don't take people like you in here anymore. So yeah. Sorry, you've had your warnings. There is no discount on the election. It's basically free. It doesn't beat free, right? And all you got to do is write my name in. Would you rather I tattoo my name on my forehead? Would that help? Not that I would, because I don't like tattoos, personally. Amish get around it. There's some areas in Minnesota, cheese tester, where Islamic people are not paying any money at all on their on the money that they loan out to Islamic people. They're not allowed to charge them interest. Can you imagine not charging interest to people who worship Islam, and then charging interest to Christians? That's what they're doing in some of our states. We need a leader like you can't even say. We need top-down leadership here. It's not good. I had this discussion with Sarah. Are you jealous of people that have a lot of money? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not jealous. I think it's great. In fact, the capitalist incentive is fantastic. Fantastic. People want to be better. They want to improve their lives. It's what really fuels the capitalist system. I despise extreme wealth. It's becoming a problem because these people are so wealthy, it's not even funny. If Donald Trump had $1 billion, he'd be rich, by any estimation in America. But oh no, he claims he has $10 billion. It's the super rich that really kind of burn my hide, because they are not using their money to create American jobs. They're hoarding their money. They're sitting there. Welcome to Fantasy Island. I am dressed like Mr. Rourke. Thank you. And great, my friend, Tattoo. The plane. Boss, the plane. I know, Tattoo. The plane is beautiful. Let's talk about my plane idea, and then I'll get to other ideas that make us different than any other candidate out there. And by the way, if you're tracking the scrolling going on here, these are the things we really stand for. We want to fire the IRS. We won't need the IRS once we initiate a flat tax. We want to end the Fed. We want to fix the EPA so they don't keep dropping cyanide in rivers in Colorado. We want to stop the FDA, fix them from hitting up vaccinations everywhere. And the CDC is USDA. These companies are barely functioning. And one I'm going to get rid of is the CPS. CPS has got all kinds of bad things going on. There's over 1,000 people, 1,000 children a year die from torture under the care of the CPS organization. That is the weirdest thing. This is not happening here. A country that has got a CPS organization where foster care parents are sitting there collecting $2,000 or more per child. There was a guy in New York that was recently arrested. Get this. He molested 160 foster care children under his care over 10 years. And each child was putting out like $2,200 per child. The CPS was paying this molester. And he was buying toys to lure children in. And he went there, he existed, and they knew about him, and they were giving him kids for 10 years. So CPS in New York will be shut down. It's the first organization we're going to shut down when I become president, and we're going to integrate local law enforcement into a brand new training program where they're involved with family domestic battles. And we'll also open up an orphanage in the Long Island, New York area for all the displaced children from this program. All right? And it's going to be the first orphanage of its kind. I know exactly where I want to build it. And we're going to use federal dollars to do it. We're going to seize the land as federal property or work with the state to do this. But we're going to make sure that we have a really modern orphanage where kids are safe in their room. There's motion detectors so you'll know if one or two people are in the room. We won't be videotaping every child in their room. They'll have privacy, but only one person per room, and every child will have their own TV set, gaming station, and they'll be able to go to their safe room and privately lock their door. And then when they go out, it'll be a beautiful pond, fishing, recreational. It's just going to be a brand new, modernized orphanage, because we cannot trust the foster care people that are currently operating in our system. It's got to stop. There's over 55,000 kids in America missing every year. Go to missingkids.com and you'll see this. So there's a lot of things we have to talk about, and we can't even get to that. All right. The Homestead Renewal Plan is all about building jobs and creating homes for people and improving neighborhoods, raising the real estate value, gentrifying communities. I am 55 years old. Thanks for asking. I've been just tickled pink to be able to talk to you about these issues. That's what I do every night. We have over 225,000 viewers from Sydney, Australia. Hello, Tony. It's official. Thank you so much, Australians, for watching our show. Something you're going to like. Bring our troops home and end the Federal Reserve. This is a plan that we have for our country here in America. So the Federal Reserve will no longer take a huge toll on our finances as well. They're sucking us dry. It's ridiculous, the amount of debt we've acquired because of them. Hello, Japan. Yay. And we've got Japanese people in here watching our show. We've got another great idea that's really amazing. Aside from ending the Federal Reserve, bringing our troops home will help preserve our economy and tell the rest of the world that we're no longer attacking them. Okay? The American people need a brand new direction. And the best way to do this is to actually encourage other nations to begin the healing stage that we've been under the powerful elitists that have been pulling America's strings. Now, America is the largest military power in the world. We spend more on our military than all the other nations combined. And that puts us in a very, very important position, because we can basically pull the leg out of war. We can prevent the constant anger Barack Obama created with Vladimir Putin. We can pull our rebel troops, whatever those people are, cut the funding, and withdraw from Syria as a first step, as an act of goodwill. Same with Ukraine. And a brand new third-party president sells the world on a brand new plan for America, because it tells the other countries that the American people have finally grown some brain cells and said no to the incredible imperialism of our nation. That's the best way to describe it. It's like we're still acting out our imperialistic tendencies as a country, and we need to pull back from that. We cannot export democracy around the world. It's got to come from within. All right? So I'm David Sponheim, and it's not that hard to write my name in. So I'll put my name on my forehead. You can just remember it that way. The new transgender laws in North Carolina, I believe, are protected under the 10th Amendment. But every government agency in the country that is a federal agency will not engage in discrimination. That much I can assure you. But there's a point at which we can no longer enforce federal jurisdiction over states, and that's the 10th Amendment. I own about 15 ties. You want to tie one on? Okay, let's take a look at this right here. This is something that's really important to America that many people kind of forget, the idea of legalization of marijuana. So, yeah, I'm going to cut some of these things off here so we don't have to deal with them. Now, say you are dealing with your family member who's not getting a job and doesn't want to work, and you can't understand why your brother or your uncle or whatever can't find a job. He doesn't want to go. He's a loser, a moocher. Well, when we put a plan together that will, hang on, we got a moocher behind me I got to get rid of. Yeah, this guy used to be a moocher. He used to eat off of people's plates. Bernie Sanders hasn't worked. He didn't work until he was 40 years old. In case you didn't know, Bernie Sanders was a moocher. So I don't want to make a big deal about a moocher who's now driving a $175,000 car who claims he has a socialist solution for the American people. I would rather not talk about that. So yeah, we're going to we're going to address how your son or uncle who or whatever, or your whatever, somebody in your family is going to want a job and can't find one. So what I'm going to recommend is that when I legalize marijuana, as soon as I become president, we will actually open up an opportunity for your do-nothing, worthless whatever in your family to actually do something. And you're going to turn around and tell your moocher family member, hey man, why don't you just grow some weed? And they're not prosecuting for that anyway. But they are right now, okay? They are prosecuting. In some states, you can really get arrested for growing. I've never grown marijuana. I don't know how hard it is to grow. But it probably is pretty difficult. But those are the people that are going to want a job. Okay, we're going to have you muted now. Yeah, Sunchild. Stop with the spamming, okay? So legalization is also a win-win for the America's Third Party because we actually have a 58% of the country that want to legalize marijuana. Well, if your family's well off, then you don't have to work, Joe. But if they still call you a moocher, just say, hey, you know, this new president is like totally into legalization and, you know, there's nothing against it, dude. You're going to see your hands turn out the fruit of your labor. And there is nothing more enjoyable than growing things. You know, when you put your hands in the soil, your do-nothing moocher family member is going to go, he's going to light up. Or she's going to light up. She's going to have something to do. It's not easy to grow that. Well, growing good pot is hard. Okay. But we're living in a state of Washington here where we are. We're outside of the Seattle area, and we're allowed to purchase recreational marijuana. And I've been in a couple of recreational marijuana supply stores and talked to the owners and some of the workers, and the state of Washington is charging 50% tax. I will only expect a 15% tax, federal tax, on the sale of marijuana. So if you were to grow it and not pay a tax, that would be a felony. But if you were to grow it and give it to somebody and not receive any money, there'd be no felony. There's a serious issue where if you're making money on that, you have to pay a 15% tax. That's what I'm asking. And it will supersede all state taxes, and we will give states back the money per capita based on their population. So Washington will get money back that way. But we're not going to let Washington impose a tax on top of the federal tax. We will nullify their tax. All right. I don't have a wig on. Yeah, this is my hair. Yeah, if you didn't realize I have hair, you probably haven't discovered that yet. The fact is, Gary Johnson is a medical marijuana provider, and he profits a great deal. And that I can't trust. You know, people who are out there just trying to make money on the industry right now, we don't need profiteers running for president. We don't need a president who's not inspiring either. We don't need somebody who stands there and bores the hell out of you when you talk to him. And that would be him. I was never in any right-wing or left-wing organizations. I've never had any involvement, anything like that. I was a Democrat for 30 years. And then I left the Democratic Party in 2007 when they told me no one would ever elect me. One woman got up and said at a meeting I went to, no one's ever going to vote for you. And I've already gotten thousands of votes. So it's not like nobody would ever vote for me. So I've proven her wrong. And I was really shocked because I was against the war in Iraq. And I told them at the Democratic meeting then that I don't think we should ratify the war in Iraq. And they told me to shut up. Not only one, but 2 or 3 people told me to shut up right in the middle of the meeting. And I knew then that the Democratic Party is a left-wing extremist organization, literally powered up by a communist Marxist model. And they're kidding any other Democrat. If you're still a Democrat, you need to wake up to what's happening. Hillary has an agenda of collectivism that will literally take away your personal freedoms. They're pushing for gun control, which is completely against our Constitution. But then you got Donald Trump on the far right, who literally wants to take away your freedom of speech and tell Muslims they're not allowed to practice religion, which is a gross violation of our First Amendment. Interpretations of other amendments like equal protection under the law. So you got Donald Trump on the far right wanting to deny freedom in America as well. So I've never been a Republican, and I won't ever join the Republican Party because they simply expect business to solve problems, and business doesn't give a rat's ass about the people. They just care about profit. That's been the way it's always been. No, I've not muted you. You're not being muted, and I'm not a racist. Well, if you don't want your personal freedom, you'll find that out when you're incarcerated, when you did nothing wrong. Yeah. I not only a temporary, I want a temporary stoppage of any refugee. I don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, Catholic. I guess some Catholics think they're Christian. But the reality is I don't want to stop anybody simply because of their religion. I don't want any refugees coming into this country right now. We've got to deal with our border crisis first. And that's why I have the 10,000-mile fence, or excuse me, the 1,000-mile fence, which I came up with literally in 2008. And now is being, borrowed by Donald Trump and poorly executed too. I don't plan on building a wall in a year. The only thing we could do is an electric fence within a year. A wall would take 10 years. And he should know that. Well, no, excuse me. He's never laid a brick in his life. I guess. So we've got shows every night. Tonight is basically Truth Tuesday, but right here you're looking at kind of a caption from Conspiracy Monday, which we just got out of. I've not talked about conspiracies tonight, other than touchdown on the possibility that 9/11 was an inside job, because we're trying to focus on what is true. Now, what is true for a fact is we don't have a lot of evidence of a lot of terrorist acts going on around the world. That's true. We don't have a lot of clear-cut evidence that terrorism is happening. There's only rumors and very little corroborating evidence that ISIS is doing these beheadings. And why would they do beheadings in front of a green screen so poorly? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So many people, like including myself, believe that a lot of the fear of terrorism is being put out by our government and by Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State and by Barack Obama, who is simply doing a directive from somebody above them. Because these people are pawns of the New World Order. They simply want to create fear of terrorism to start wars around the world. And we're onto that. That's why we need a brand new dimension, a third party for this country, because we don't buy into that crap. Now, the two parties, all they talk about is ISIS, ISIS, ISIS. Okay, they may be trying to kill us. I'm not denying that there are real terrorists out there, but many of them were trained in Jordanian training camps by CIA operatives. And that's a fact, Jack. When our government supported Libya's attack, the attack on Libya by Al-Qaeda, our country ostensibly negotiated with terrorists. And none of us have ever heard about this in the mainstream media because they never made a big deal about it. They just did it. And that's how they deposed Muammar Gaddafi. And then they went up to Syria with 600 of the rockets that they had left over from his attack, and they gave them to the rebels. And somehow they found their way into ISIS' hands. And Putin's been dancing around this issue, claiming that ISIS is the threat just like we are. When in fact, our country's been staging a war in Syria, just like we tried in Libya. We succeeded in Libya, but Assad is nothing like Muammar Gaddafi. Assad has over 350 extremely capable jets, helicopters, and all kinds of defensive batteries around Damascus. There's no way we would have an easy cakewalk into that country, even if it was an air war, especially if Russia came in to back it up. So Russia was there. Putin was there and so successful at the bombing raids against ISIS that they left last week. And Putin is moving on. So we ostensibly blew it. We're funding wasteful wars. The Democrats literally dumped $662 million into rebels' hands. Can you imagine what $662 million would have helped the city of Detroit? Okay, you got blinker fluid going on? Really? How to replace blinker
Chris
fluid?
Fix here, and today I'm going to teach you how to change the blinker fluid in your car or truck. You can see here in my truck, the blinker fluid is about half full and it needs to be filled all the way. Now, if your mechanic tries to tell you he needs to service your blinker fluid, guess what? Find a new mechanic. He's ripping you off.
Fluid.
Because you could totally do this at home inexpensively, and this is all you need.
This is so funny. Whoa. What will people think of next? Blinker fluid. Yeah. The Russians didn't leave. They're still there and growing. Well, that's fine. At least he announced his departure, and he's pulling his troops back. We don't need to upscale a war in Syria. If you could give me one legitimate reason why we would be going in there and pushing for a war. The only thing I can come up with is some anecdote from Zbigniew Brzezinski. 40 years ago, he wrote a book in which he talked about using Syria as a pathway to a pipeline to the Caspian Sea. It's completely ridiculous. It's almost like we're running an operation out of 1977 Foreign Policy Review by the Council on Foreign Relations. So we literally have no real long-term vision other than that. I, by the way, support integration, and I will work toward integration with our nation's cities, but not to force integration on anybody. No way. I don't want to force blacks to live with whites or communicate. The fact is, we just want to lower the bar on limits to communication. So we want to give people prosperity in communities so they'll feel empowered and at the same time, feel like they are getting respect from their local government. Well, I don't have a phone, so I can't really answer any phones here, but yeah, sorry. Sir, okay. I've never read the Quran. I'm not interested. I don't believe in religion. My peruke? What is a peruke exactly? You're saying I have a peruke? Oh, thanks. Hello. Oh. Okay, I'm here. Operator is standing by. Inattention. Okay, so let's get the show going. We obviously, spend an hour and a half talking about other things, and I don't take medicine, man. But I do a little thing at the 1.5 hour mark, which gives me some energy and gives me the ability to, hang out with all of you. And that is I get exercise. And I get up out of my chair and I move my butt. Yeah. And we work out a little bit, because otherwise I will turn into a massive couch potato. And you wouldn't want a presidential candidate walking around. Well, you got that with Trump. You wouldn't want somebody with a massive belly, All right. Let's get going. 1, 2, 3.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop.
So let's be clear.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Sponheim for president.
We can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop.
First we hit 'em low, then we hit 'em high. Underrated, but we made it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Spring to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, then head-on collisions. We make incisions with precision and quick decisions, causing double visions. If you ain't up to speed, you need to speed it up, partner. Piano read.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks a lot. It makes no difference who you vote for now at this point. Yeah, you can write my name in. It'll work. It's the same as voting for anybody else at this point. Thank you so much for coming in, guys. As you can see, I accidentally got rid of my camera, so bear with me for a sec so I can readjust the camera. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, Hillary does belong in prison if indeed she was complicit in the death of Chris Stevens, which is entirely possible. Yeah, don't rule it out. It's not impossible to believe that she was involved. You know, many people don't realize this, but Hillary was very quick to remove the MEK, the known terrorist group, from the terrorist watch list the day after Benghazi happened, which is, I noticed this and I was keeping track. I couldn't believe that as Secretary of State, she actually released them from the list of known terrorists. Now, I don't know what the circumstances were for this, but it looked to me like payback. And this story has never actually gone into the mainstream media. No one's ever talked about it. I'm the only guy who's brought it up, and no one wants to discuss it. Bernie doesn't want to discuss it. Bernie doesn't want to talk about anything regarding Hillary and Benghazi. What kind of a candidate is running against a person for the nomination of president for the Democratic Party and won't even bring up her biggest liability? What a ballless wonder he turned out to be. And you expect him to save the nation? But then you got this guy with overinflated balls on the right who just doesn't even understand the limits to his statements and has no clue as to how much damage he's doing politically to the Republican Party. Every time he opens his mouth, he puts his foot in his mouth. And you know who I'm talking about, right? There you go. You remember. Recently, he's made statements that are just absolutely over the top. Absolutely. Sunchild, this is getting ridiculous. Yeah, you got to stop that. I'm going to ask you to stop doing that. Thank you. Marge sent you. Hi, Ben. How are you? Ben Franken. So when Donald Trump wants to increase nuclear weapons, and last week he said that he's willing to drop a nuke on Europe, what's going on? I mean, doesn't he even understand? Well, he doesn't even understand the triad. He was asked that in the third debate. What about the triad? And he had no idea what the triad was. It's our air, sea, and land-based nuclear weapons that need improving. The infrastructure is aging. He had no idea what they were talking about. So this guy has no idea what policy is. He doesn't read or something, or maybe he's not capable of understanding. I mean, he certainly didn't understand technology when Donald had this incredible desire for everybody to boycott Apple a couple of weeks ago because they were trying to protect your privacy. I mean, why would he want to boycott Apple when one of the best companies in the country? It's had over 30 years of product production, a cash-rich corporation. Donald hasn't done that. Well, let's be clear. Yeah, he hasn't done that. Yeah, that's the wrong... I got to get something else here. Hang on. Donald makes ties and belts. I mean, where's the money? There we go. That'll work. So he obviously exploits labor, and yet he wants to stop illegal use of illegal labor. I mean, the guy is all over the place. America doesn't seem to understand that Donald is the one percenter. He's part of the one percenter, just like Hillary. He's part of that group. And we know that Barack Obama is a one percenter too. And, you know, the real question is right now is, how long are we going to be duped by these people? How long are the American people going to be duped by these people? You can vote for whoever you want, just don't talk about it here. Yeah, it's like they're still being duped by this Donald guy. Constantly. Promise. Anybody can promise things. Bernie promises, I'm going to take away the rich people's money. You can count on it. Hillary promises what? RFID chips in every home? More GMOs? I mean, use your head, folks. We're being totally duped by these one percenters and these people that are doing the work of their handlers, ostensibly. I am a wonderful success. Thank you for coming in. This is awesome. We got so many people now talking about what we're doing here. And as you know, we have encapsulated our ideas for the country in our book, Hybrid Capitalism, which is on sale at our website, AmericasThirdParty.com. Yeah. Thanks, Trumpers. Thanks for coming in. At least you're here to share your imbecilic behavior, because if you really believe that Trump, who read Hitler's speeches by his bed during Ivana Trump's relationship, yeah, Ivana said in her deposition her husband was reading Hitler's speeches. Well, you can be a remote viewer all you want, just don't keep pasting in the show, okay? Well, if you're remote viewing a disaster, it could be you're living in fear. You may want to stop living in fear. No, I'm not a failure. In fact, my numbers are growing rapidly. I've been censored for the past 7 years, completely censored by the media. Your ideas are completely unfounded. Wow, billions in change. Let's take a look at this story. Ideas that will save the world. Wow. And why do those ideas never reach fruition? Because they're stopped by the big oil companies or big pharma. Hey, you hear about this Vaxxed movie called Vaxxed, Vaxxed? Apparently Robert De Niro has an autistic child and somebody pressured him to pull the video of the movie, the film itself, from the Tribeca Film Festival, which he's in charge of. Isn't that amazing? Okay. An energy drink. Wow, that's special. And why am I looking at that? You do have a viable option for president this year. Me, Lot Lizard. I've been trying to help you for a long time. You just don't want to listen. Yeah. Believe me, I would have gotten on the ballot if the American people had a chance to hear about me in the mainstream media. I got on the ballot in my state election, and literally the Democrats, Republicans stole 90% of my signs and vilified me in the foreign press. It wasn't even the U.S. press. They ran ads in my area from Canada just to slam me because they're so afraid of what I'm capable of doing. You see, I don't have to read off a teleprompter like Barack Obama. I don't have to have a teleprompter like Donald Trump did at AIPAC when he was trying to get some of that Jewish money. I'm not a Zionist. I got a lot of things going for me that appeal to the American people, and believe me, if you're a Trump supporter, you need to be aware of how Donald is trying to schmooze that Jewish American Israeli Political Action Committee. Yeah. He's out there schmoozing for that money, that Zionist money, and you wonder why our country's at war in other countries like Syria? Well, isn't it ironic? Syria is an enemy of Israel. Yeah, and Donald, he was willing to go and do a ground troop involvement in Iran. He's even talked about it. I won't send any ground troops into the Middle East. No more than we currently have, and we will subtract from the total when I become president. We'll make better use of our time there. We won't be harvesting opium. Donald won't talk about all the opium that our government is allowing our military to harvest so that the CIA can profit $50 billion a year. Why are we still in Afghanistan? Obama said he was going to get out, right? No. He upscaled as soon as he became president because he wanted to help those heroin producers. The CIA absolutely wants that money. You think I'm kidding? Yeah. Some of you may have noticed video choppiness in some streams across our live streaming sites. I'm still tracking down the root cause. Thank you, Meow TV. Okay. But in the early hours, you're going to be moving all the sites and services to its new database. Interesting. Are you working directly for Vaughn, or is that just cutting and pasting? Oh, you're pasting for Vaughn? Okay, thank you, Meow TV. He's alerting us to the problems that Vaughn's facing. What's Vaughn's facing, it really is over 200 to 300,000 people now are watching me worldwide. And they want to come into the chat room. And Vaughn doesn't know what to do. And he's been turning people away with capacity server issues. So if any of you want to bypass this, go right ahead to America's Third Party, and you will have a better signal. You can see the signal coming in through the BCAM network over here. And you can still read the chat. All right? We're just fine over there. So if you're having problems with staccato video or broken video, that's what's going on. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look. We've got some other songs that we want to roll out. And I want to thank Scissor Fight for that intro. It was an awesome intro. I didn't get a chance to thank you for that. He worked on a new intro for us, and I really liked it. But yeah, we got a lot of good stuff going tonight. Yeah, hundreds are watching me, man. The numbers are growing every day. I've been censored for the past 7 years. It's karma. It's coming back, and I appreciate all of you for coming in worldwide, because this third party is about peace and about helping America solve its problems, not yours. Right on. Yeah. Trump can't dance with a bean. You're feeling the energy? It's just great tonight. Yeah. I like his slideshow. Will you be a little nicer, Ted? What have you done? You want to work on an intro for me, Ted? Ted Miltonga, you could be one of our volunteers. Work on your own video, man. It could be your opportunity. We are powered up by volunteerism, and this third party has been essentially doing the impossible, because I built this on a backbone of fiscally conservative plans, where we are using the free internet to press beyond the power of the Illuminati. No one has heard from me in the country. I'm expecting people from around the world to talk to their American friends about me. And having completely been taken down from we just can't stop. We won't stop. We're gonna keep on doing it. That's right. I don't think Trump even has a theme song like I've got. That's a fact, Jack.
We won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop.
So let's be clear. In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
All right. Yeah, dance, sexy man. Yeah.
For president.
Let's make it happen, all right? So this is what Americans are really saying right now. We have had enough. Yeah. Can't stop. And we're tired of this consumption mentality that the two parties keep pushing. I'm totally against overconsumption. I'm more into sustainability. Hillary's a consumer. Oh, yeah. It's kind of scary to think that Hillary can't answer anybody's questions, and she's the least transparent person ever. And we've got ideas like our mobile medical unit that can help people in real need and lower the cost of health care. Trump doesn't have any of these ideas. None of them.
We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
All right, we got a lot of things to talk about. The people that matter can talk. The people that don't matter can't talk. You have to get a user account. Welcome to Mr. Ben Franklin. Yeah. Really? Trump stole music? No kidding. Okay, let's take a look at this article that Scissor Fight keeps putting out. Oh, I haven't danced yet. Is he giving the finger to people? Okay, let's take a look at this. Thank you. We're looking at House of Pain tell piece of crap Donald Trump to stop playing jump around at rallies. Because politics is awful and everything is ruined, Donald Trump has been playing jump around at his rallies. Unsurprisingly, House of Pain frontman Everlast is furious at his band's 1992 hit being used as a backdrop for an increasingly ugly presidential campaign. And he's promised to slap Trump with a cease and desist order. Right on. Cool. House of Pain frontman Everlast. Hey, at Donald Trump, real Donald Trump, stop using my song Jump Around at your rallies, you piece of beep. Cease and desist is coming, you scumbag. Coming from at OG Everlast. Wow, cool. Yeah, he doesn't seem to understand you need rights to do that. Thank you. Hey, Mad Dog, welcome. Hey, so users, if you want to get a user account, you're a guest and you want to come into the Vaughn Network, I'm sure Mark would appreciate the numbers, even though he's trying to monetize the show, or you can just watch and talk to us as a guest in the future, because I'll be taking guests back up and we'll be talking to you guests in just a bit. All right, I need to go into the news and get a little bit more information about the current state of the union. All right. Well, let's be clear. So, could you advance the teleprompter? Yeah, welcome to the show. I don't use a teleprompter. Okay, Ted Cruz wins Wisconsin GOP primary. This is huge. It puts another chink in Donald Trump's plan to control the election. It's interesting. They may just expurge Donald Trump from the Republican Party. It's not unheard of. Yeah, look at that. It's not unusual to have some big mouth get expurged. Okay, let's see. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas campaigning on Monday. He defeated Donald Trump in the Wisconsin primary. Good. Those cheesers are starting to wake up to the reality that Donald Trump sounds really right-wing and really left-wing at the same time. Things are broken. They need to be fixed. I know, Bowl of Booty. I hear you. It's pretty bad. We need your participation, though. The problem is the American people are not participating in fixing their government. The government's not listening. Okay, this should be interesting. Shots fired. Okay, let's take another look at a Zero Hedge story that just popped in. And Donald Trump is still talking about how he's going to force Mexico to pay for a border fence, a wall. Threatening to cut off billions of dollars in payments that immigrants send home to the country. The idea could decimate the Mexican economy and set it up for failure. Donald Trump isn't playing with a full deck, in my opinion. He basically has taken my idea, the 1,000-mile fence, and he's stuck on the wall, and he wants Mexico to pay for it, instead of admitting he made a big error. Kind of like when he said he wanted all women who had abortions to be punished, and he recanted his statement. He needs to pull back on that hatred for Mexico. That's no way to treat a trading nation. Okay, now on this issue. Let's take a look. Earlier today, for the first time, we got a glimpse into some of the American names allegedly contained in the Panama Papers' largest ever leak. Some, not all, and allegedly. Because, as we said yesterday, one can't help but wonder, why not do a WikiLeaks type data dump, one which reveals, if not all the 2.6 terabytes of data due to security concerns, then at least the identities of these 441 US-based clients. Wow. Okay. I just jumped off the screen. Yes. I'm back. I left you without the process of listening to me sneeze, so you'll have to excuse me. Okay. The exact same question appeared in an interview conducted between Wired Magazine and the director of an organization that released the Panama Papers. The person said the media organizations have no plans to release the full data set. Why are they holding back? Why are they covering for some individuals? That's why I'm beginning to think there's something suspicious about the Panama Papers. I said it earlier. All right, thank you for that. I'll take a look at that a little bit later. All right, so we obviously stand for things that the two parties do not even discuss, like pulling fluoride out of our water system and building a lethal electric fence, not a wall. And by the way, this idea is mine, the 1,000-mile fence, dating back to 2008. We're on record. Okay. 11 reasons dehydration is making you sick and fat. Wow. I was wondering about that, But every time I drink tap water, I feel weird, so I don't drink tap water. Okay, let's see what we got here. 11 reasons. Should be good. Okay, drinking 2 8-ounce glasses of water before breakfast, lunch, and dinner while also cutting back on portions will help you lose weight. No kidding. Keep it off for at least a year, according to research. That's good to know. As long as you're drinking filtered water, right? Drinking cold water can speed your metabolism and burn calories. That's good to know too. And you should drink only water, okay? You don't want to get all that sugar from soda pop, 35 grams of sugar per can. All right, really good, helpful tips for health. Appreciate it. Now, speaking of health, you asked me an honest question? Well, okay. It's not a question. You told me to hop on the Trump train. No way. You got to understand, my train is built rock solid. The Trump train is comprised of mindlessness, and it's simply using the power of money. Trump can't even get close to my ideas. In fact, he's borrowing 6 of my ideas. So acting like he somehow has great thoughts when he's simply borrowing them. Do you realize how dangerous a little knowledge is as opposed to a lot of knowledge? Yeah, Trump is a dangerous person because he's got very little new ideas and he's borrowing mine. Okay, let's take a look at our mobile medical unit here, all right? Luckily, he hasn't talked about this yet. But this is an idea. We want to roll out 200 of these in essentially probably close to 120 cities, because some cities like Chicago and LA are going to need at least 10. But 200 units at $5 million per unit equals a total of $1 billion. Okay? That's a small pittance compared to Obamacare. And I can basically operate these things on another $1 billion for the first year. Now, what makes these units so special is they will also have an onboard pharmacy with a Pillow-matic system in it, selling generic medicine at a low cost to people that need real medicine. And we are also bringing in an even better solution, which is a mobile medical pharmacy and pharmaceria for marijuana. Because when I become president, we will legalize marijuana, the first thing I do. I will remove it from the list of controlled substances. Every other president has been weak and hypocritical for not doing that. So at the back of these units will be a medical marijuana dispensary, which will also help fund the operation of the mobile medical unit. So what we've got here is a system that will give free health care to veterans, and anyone with a $30 copay can get the same care as a veteran. And if you have to fill a tooth, it'll be $50 versus $200 at your local dentist. If you have to have that tooth pulled, you'll be given that option for $50 as well. But if you've got a root canal, you want to save the tooth, you'll have to come forth with that money to do that. All right? Because root canals are a lot more advanced and a lot more serious. But if your tooth is still savable, they'll save it for $50. All right? So medical marijuana to kill the pain in your mind, because it is helpful with pain relief. The idea of dental care at as low as $50 a tooth. Seriously. Oh, yeah. I'm talking your language now. I know a lot of you people are going, oh, did he say $50 a tooth? Yeah. You're laughing tonight, DT Laura? That's great. At least you're having fun. You like the emote. Yeah, I know. Forget Apple versus the FBI. WhatsApp just switched on encryption for 1 billion people. WhatsApp is apparently initiating some sort of a new encryption plan. Oh, it's changed to WhatsApp. Okay, what's happening? I wonder if anyone's got what's happening. Yeah, so this isn't WhatsApp, is it? It's WhatsApp. It's not Facebook. Mountain View is home to WhatsApp, an online messaging service now owned by tech giant Facebook. Oh, so it is WhatsApp. Thank you. I've never used the service. I didn't know. I thought it was called WhatsApp. My mistake. My bad. It's grown into one of the world's largest, most important applications to Mark. Mark Zuckerberg thinks it's really important. More than 1 billion people trade messages, make phone calls, do text messaging, which they would normally pay a lot for their cell phone to do. Okay, but there's the thing with the ad blockers. Thank you. Oh, here I'm getting screen hijacked in the process of reading the article. I've seen enough. Thank you. Okay, let's get back to you. I want to talk about you and get more personal here. Marijuana is medication, yeah, Ron? I've talked to a lot of people in my area who are really benefiting from recreational marijuana use. And Washington State is phasing out their, hey, Sunstar. Sunstar, in our room, one of our longest viewers since 2008. Thank you for coming in. You sent me a link on Fukushima? Okay. Did you email it to me or what? I'm not high, Rodney. I think we talked about why you don't need to be in the room because of your mouth. All right. Well, this is your warning. David, why do you speak as if the U.S. president actually runs the country and makes his own decisions? I don't speak about that. I believe that Barack Obama is a puppet. Because he doesn't have the balls to make decisions and never has, he's done nothing substantive since he's become president. But the presidency has a tremendous amount of opportunity. You just need a man with courage who's willing to, take a bullet to his head. Okay? And I'm that kind of guy. You can't frighten me. You can't come up to me and go, oh, yeah, we're going to make you do this, buddy, or we'll blow your head off. You can't do that. I've been threatened numerous times with guns to my head. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, okay? I've been in bank robberies where I've had people hold guns to my head. I mean, it does. I don't frighten easy, okay? Just look at it that way. Now, you need a person like that to lead the nation as president, not some waft of a man who holds his hand up like he's some panty waist when some little guy named Raul Castro grabs his hand. I can't believe he did that. I have a picture of it. Hi, Sarah. Oh, that was Galen Windsor. Galen Windsor is the guy who we were talking about earlier, that Sarah and I were discussing. Let me get that off here. He actually has a video out talking about how nuclear radiation is nowhere near as dangerous as we think it is.
From the shortest wavelength, highest frequency, and therefore the most easily shielded ultraviolet light emissions of the electromagnetic spectrum. Big words. Let's see what they mean. The emissions from uranium, plutonium, cesium, all of those things are only important if you assemble an amount that if you get this amount and this amount together, it can go critical. You can get a blue flash and therefore get burned. And that's happened 34 times in the business, and 8 men have died as a result of that. Accidental criticality.
Okay.
Documented in Los Alamos document 3611, if you want to check the source.
Hey there, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? We're on the phone with Shrek. We're on live. What's up? What's your question?
Well, with everything going on right now, with Donald Trump being in the media and all these other presidential candidates being in the media, and you're seeing all these people starting to speak out, have you ever thought about going to any of the rallies and speaking to people? Outside the rally? I mean, if you can't get into one?
Yeah, I can't do that. You got to understand, I got people wanting to kill me on a daily basis, Shrek. I don't think you were aware that I literally am living under constant threat of death. Maybe you're not aware of that. Yeah, we've been swatted. I can't go to rallies because I don't have a security force like Donald Trump. I can't afford a security force because nobody's made any donations to our party or my effort in the past, month or so? I don't think we haven't even had a donation in the past month. I'm just telling you. Yeah, it's impossible for me to travel to those parties because of the cost. And frankly, to stand out there and make a spectacle of myself in front of a bunch of people is actually counterproductive when I've got access to, right now, over 250,000 people are watching our show right now, Shrek. So I don't think you understand what's happening here. The work I put into the early 2008 campaign has actually blown into a massive word of mouth thing across the globe. So we're getting a lot of global attention right now. So I don't think it's that important that I go to a local rally and convince 15 people around me that I'm a good guy. It's a bigger issue.
I want to encourage you to do that.
Yeah, you can do that because there's no death threats against you that I know of. But, honestly, yeah, we got lots of people watching the show. That's why Vaughn can't even keep up with the traffic here right now. And when he tells people to join VIP, they don't like that either. So we're dealing with a technical issue from Vaughn, so I'm directing people to our website at America's Third Party to check our signal because we've got the Battle Cam feed over there, and it's putting out a good feed with video, and then you can see our chat from Vaughn right on that page. So, but thanks for the suggestion, but I talked about this with Sarah many years ago.
I just want to throw out there that I actually bought signs from you, and I was I'm supportive of you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I appreciate that. Substar just picked up 28 delegates from Wisconsin. It's tough. Thanks, Substar, for trying. You guys are all trying in your own way, but this is not something that's going to happen with me pressing the flesh and hugging the kids and doing the old traditional campaign method. You got to understand that we've never had more censorship in our country than we have right now. So I'm fighting a guerrilla media marketing campaign to break through to a larger scale of viewers, and it's working finally after 7 years. And I put this ball in place 7 years ago. So you got to understand, this is we're literally nesting the idea of a third party in the eyes and mind of people around the world, so that it'll come back to America, that America is about to change for a good thing. So what you've been doing is you've carried the backbone of this, and a lot of you are carrying the backbone just talking about us and printing up our signs from our website. So you've already done a big part of that. So feel good about it. Don't think you're not doing enough. Just keep thinking about what you can do. All right.
Thank you. Oh, you're voting for David in Wisconsin. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we on a trunk line right now? Are we on a trunk line?
No, okay. I said, how did you do in Wisconsin?
Oh, we got a lot of write-ins. Yeah, we're hoping the write-in campaign will topple the two-party system in one state in the primaries. If we can pull one state, even Delaware, boy, I would get the instantaneous attention I need. But you can donate up to $5,000 to our website, which is the committee to elect David Sponheim for president, or David John Sponheim for president. But technically, you can write David Sponheim in. That's what I'm registered as, a write-in candidate. I was one of the first people to register in 2012 and 2008. So I've been trying to uproot the two-party system for the past, 7 years, and it's finally paying off. So I'm not benefiting at all from any of this. Believe me, I'm not in this for personal gain. So I'm not invested to the point where if I fail in the 2016 election, it'll be devastating. It won't. I always saw 2020 as the target date to deal with the colossal atrocities committed to the American people by our money-mongering leaders. They have literally borrowed so much to pad their own pockets that the whole crap house is going to come tumbling down, and we're going to be watching, and we're going to have to come up with solutions to pick it up, because they're not going to help us. These people are not going to help the American people. They care only about themselves, and their primary goal is depopulation. A lot of these wealthy people, like Ted Turner, we know that that's their goal, is depopulation. And I don't think we have a population crisis in America. I really don't. I mean, you look around all the beautiful land we've got. If we were to give everybody acreage in America, every citizen could get up to 5 acres. That's how much land we have. We just need a way to get fresh water out to it.
Who was it that said that they wanted to depopulate America?
Ted Turner.
Who was that again?
That was Ted Turner, yeah.
Who was it?
Let me show you. I'll give you a Ted Turner statement to the Audubon Society in 1997, where he actually told everybody he felt that we need to get rid of people, or they need to stop having babies, he said. That's what he said, not get rid of people. But yeah, let me just play it for you so you can at least get a handle of what he was talking about.
We've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the
Okay,
population?
thanks for calling,
too many
Shrek. Take
people.
care, man.
That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff.
But
if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff. We're altering the climate and the world in so many different ways. And what we're doing is reducing the Earth's carrying capacity, so that each year the natural world gets poorer, and less able to support the increasing number of people. We have a finite world, but an infinite ability to increase our population.
Well,
that's the idea that was first propagated by the Club of Rome,
right.
And it's all the idea like, oh, we don't have enough to support people. Well, the thing is that we do. I think that we do. I used to believe that propaganda that, oh, we don't have enough to support people on Earth and people should stop having children, et cetera, et cetera. And now I think that, it's really about the managing the Earth's resources effectively. I think it's about making sure that we do some, when you think about how much food is thrown away every single year.
I know.
I mean, every single day.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
There's more food thrown away than people actually consume here in America. So
50% of our food is thrown away. That comes into our country is thrown away. I mean, talk about waste. So it is ridiculous. We're like running out of. We have so much food, so we could easily support a larger population. But in no way do I want to destabilize what we have. We have zero population growth, except for 5% growth from illegal aliens. So we want to get a zero population growth for our country. I know China and India are working at that plan. Becoming more sustainable makes sense. So limiting population is the easy fix, but the real answer is making better use of our land and creating fresh water.
And our resources.
Water is the serious, integral part of this entire scenario for a bigger population. We need to create much more fresh water and make it cheap and affordable. People are paying a lot for water now in California, and what's happening there is completely unnatural. We can stop the problem in California. We can fix it with providing the ocean pipeline solution, but we can also stop spraying all kinds of chemicals in the air, and we can force our government to get accountable on this issue. There's a lot of people that are unaware that there are planes, unmarked planes taking off from airports around the country that are delivering a payload of chemicals to the atmosphere. And this is going on right under our eyes. Many of you may not want to agree that it's happening, but I've got so much, a preponderance of video and material that I've got to bring out, that I'm opening up another channel. I'm not going to tell you about it yet, but it's going to be another channel to deal with it. We literally are dealing with the reality that our government's been lying to us about what's happening in the air above us. And we need to get to the bottom of that. And so I'm looking at raising the bar of awareness for what's happening. They're called chemtrails, weather modification.
Yes, when you do donate more than $50, I do have to report your name and address to the FEC.
Under 50, we wouldn't have to need your name.
$49.99.
Yep. Now this is the deal. I have never ever encountered drones in my area, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But I have seen some pretty interesting jets fly over my head. We live in a place called the Whidbey Naval Air Station, island of Whidbey Island. And there's a major naval air station here that flies experimental aircraft above our house. And I certainly don't see the need to keep producing massive jets that are already antiquated by many standards. The F-35 just failed 2 critical stress tests in air-to-air combat with the F-16. So we aren't even seeing the benefits of this incredibly expensive hardware we're flying in the skies. So what I'm proposing is a different approach toward our nation's military structure as well. But first let me address the issue of agriculture. Organic food is actually way more productive than the food that's being produced with Roundup and glyphosate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it really is.
And like the what we can produce with all these great vermicomposting with the worm bins.
Vermicomposting, yeah. So one of the plans we have for our country is to create a national composting plan in every city in America where people will be able to get really cheap fertilizer, because we'll be taking a lot of that food waste that Sarah was talking about and integrating it from the garbage cans outside restaurants into a national composting regeneration of the good soil. So all of that could be exported. Communities around Europe right now, in Eastern Europe especially, are surviving with victory gardens, what we call at America victory gardens. So that's a big part of getting a kind of a loop going with the environment. That's one of the handshakes that we're offering the American people, so you'll be able to get really cheap fertilizer. And you might want to even work in the area because it'll be a job, and you'll be able to make money doing it. We'll run the trucks that pick up oil, spent oil from restaurants. We'll run those on biofuel, so it'll be a circular use of energy. And we'll also make sure that the companies Dow and Monsanto will no longer keep pursuing the use of glyphosate. I'm going to be putting efforts out to discuss real alternatives, organic food alternatives as well for big fertilizer companies. A lot of them are using chemicals when we could actually integrate natural fertilizers from animal waste much safer into the environment than we are currently doing. So lots more environmentally friendly efforts to create food. We're not going to be able to do this right away, but it's a transition we need to make, and its time has come. Monsanto needs to be told that GMOs, technically, they should not be able to get any money whatsoever on patent rights for GMOs. And I'm going to task the Justice Department to actually sue Monsanto in the name of the American people, using the same court precedent that was used by the Supreme Court when they said that you cannot get a genetic patent on human beings. For that matter, any organic matter with carbon in it. So that will be the precedent. We will push for Monsanto to stop this unnecessary taxation and unnecessary fines and fees they are charging farmers around the country. It's ridiculous. And end the use of glyphosate, which is a known carcinogen in our environment. Much like DDT was canceled in the 1960s, we'll do it with glyphosate. Glyphosate is extremely dangerous. And we will get restitution from the Food and Drug Administration on vaccines as well, and the CDC. We'll make sure that they do not keep pushing for unnecessary vaccinations and forced vaccinations on the American people. I will outlaw forced vaccinations. States like Maryland and California will not be allowed to force vaccinate their kids. We will provide a normal pattern for parents to put kids on a homeschooling program where they can get a GED within a few years. And their kid could have a GED by the age of 15. As long as you take certain tests, you'll be able to bypass the forced vaccination issue in the public school systems.
Yeah. Well, I think, it is about letting students know what they need to do to get a minimum GED. They can always do more if they wish, and let them work toward that goal at their own pace.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I was just going to
I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we've got a lot of good things to talk about nightly, and it's great to have conversation. I'm already beating Trump worldwide. The name of David Sponheim is starting to propagate. Let me do something in the chat room real quick. Just put my name out there. So write in David Sponheim in the upcoming election, folks. It's just a plan to uproot the two-party system, and it's just as good as any other plan at this point, because I know.
Okay. Yeah.
And what we've got with the Republicans wanting to expurge Donald Trump from the Republican Party is the makings of a breakaway third-party opportunity. So if a Sponheim can be written in, we can actually do this. We can break the back and force a recount on the election process.
In our state, it is illegal, divination. So you'll have to look up the state laws. I'm surprised if you work for a CPS that you should know those laws. You could ask someone at your work, I suppose, if you do in fact work for a CPS. But in our state, I can tell you that is definitely illegal.
Okay, Admiral, I think we explained to you that you cannot threaten our supporters here. If you do that one more time, I will personally ban you. All right? This is your last warning. All right? Yeah. All right. And my name is pretty easy to remember. Just think of the word Anaheim, like where Disneyland is. By the way, this is the state capital of Colorado. This is where they decide that you can't have a tiny house with water catchment on your roof and draw water from your roof. I will make it illegal for states to outlaw your ability to catch water off of your roof. It is outrageous that these states are trying to step in and stop the growing tiny house movement around the country. Oh yeah, this is another write-in. We got a write-in candidate from
Nice.
yeah, Jackson. Jackson 69.
Yay. Thanks, Jackson.
Thank you. Another great write-in candidate. Thank you so much. Forcing a recount is the only accountability the American people have. You got 3 votes. You got voting for the Republicans, which means obviously having a fascist dictator in the form of Donald Trump. Voting for the Democrats, which will obviously be Hillary, because nobody asks questions in that party, especially of Hillary. Even Bernie won't ask questions about Benghazi. So you got the commie Marxist tendency of Bernie and Hillary. And you got your third alternative, which is to write my name in. So, I mean, think about it. It's not that hard to write down and spell a guy's name. It's a much simpler thing. Pilkins asked, what about healthcare? Well, we talked about our mobile medical unit earlier, and I didn't really give you the rundown on it. But I do want to talk about it. It's very important. Mobile medical VA will be a big part of the plan to mobilize healthcare to our veterans, and in the process get everybody else $30 copay visitations. So for $30, you'll be able to actually get a checkup, including a full diagnostic of your blood. Included in that charge is a full blood chemistry done by a computer system, and it'll print out a diet plan for you. You'll also be getting recommended meds that we will be able to supply at the end of that pharmacy. There'll be a security guard and an automatic pill-o-matic system, as well as a person selling medical marijuana to finance the operation of the mobile medical system. All of our ideas in our book, Hybrid Capitalism, are there. We actually have a plan to help the country completely pay for government operations out of the sale of various things.
I like that idea, checkup from the neck up, maybe costing $15.
Yeah, that might be good. Checkup from the neck up. Yeah,
that's kind of a cool idea,
Yeah,
Mad Dog. Do you think that would be affordable? In some areas that's about minimum wage, in others it's a little bit more than minimum wage. But yeah. Is Trump on the list of the Panama Papers Noble Watchman? It might be. That's interesting. I mean, it is interesting, especially like that Icelandic Prime Minister. No, I will not require background checks on air pistols and BB guns. No. Even though I know I was frightened of someone shooting me with a BB. I didn't like it at all. Oh, interesting, Noble Watchman. Very interesting. Well, he'll just say, well, I'm not taking, as you know, my campaign is totally self-funded, etc. Yeah, all the super rich are. I'm surprised that they don't have Obama on that list. I'm sure they might. But it's like, I wonder what would be more interesting to me, well, what's kind of interesting to me with the Panama Papers is to know who, basically which politicians are not on that list and which new organization is laundering their money, if you know what I mean. Like this law firm, obviously in Panama, has been laundering money for decades, and now it seems like there's other ones, exactly like the Clinton Global Initiative, exactly. That was pretty cool to see your ballot, Jackson. Thank you. I did see that. Thank you. Only, well, I think that people who really want to do who want to represent and help people in their country want the title of president as well. I think that's what David, that's what David wants, is he wants the ability and the power to be able to help people. He doesn't have that power to be in a position to help people right now. Yeah, it does seem it's the love of money is the root of all evil, and it does seem like a lot of people involved with the Panama Papers. Obviously, they definitely mark themselves, and I would just I'm glad that they're being exposed, I guess. All right, thanks, Pilkins, for dropping by. I will see you later. Take care. Hey, that's pretty good. Keep up the good work, Jackson. Yep, so much taking from others. Sad. Well, really, life is about helping others. What was that person's issue? I don't know. They just always seem to be on the attack, so well, some people, can be able to get a job and graduate. I don't know. Some people I know have 8th grade educations, and they are pretty intelligent. I do think starting at 8th grade is when you should be able to take the GED if you'd like, in order to graduate early or show proof that you can graduate early. I would say that would be good. Yes, I have a lot of hair, Trollorama. It's just who I am. Well, I don't have a problem with the stray animals being put to sleep. I think we need to spay more animals because there's a lot, unless you want to personally take them in and take care of them. I feel for them, but it's up to people to want to take care of the animals. And at least when you're talking about pets, we're the reason that they're propagating so much. So do be responsible and have your pets spayed or neutered. Yes, I'm sure they will. Who are you talking about, Super Dave? I feel like I should follow in the footsteps of Barb Barker, because he's not around really to tell you anymore to have your pet spayed or neutered. So I should take on that stance for sure. That's what it's all about. Making good choices and having your pet spayed or neutered. Yeah. All right. You think kids destroy everything you own? That's why you have to baby-proof your house, Planet X, and only bring into your house what you really need. You really need that? Don't give your kid things that you don't want to see destroyed. Yeah, it's sad that some people want to control people and they feel like they have the right to control people. That is very, very sad. Oh, in Wisconsin, they're saying it's going to be an upset for the front runners. Yay! Nourish Freedom. Okay, IFN, I will check out what that is about. I wonder if I put this over here. That's what I kept wondering. There we go. I'll leave that there. Oh no. Researchers create artificial skin that has hair, follicles, oil, and sweat glands. Ooh, weird. I guess that's going to be artificial flesh over metal endoskeleton to create the Terminator. Craziness. Oh, it's my sis. Hey, how are ya? Yes, it is. It's been fun. So, yeah. I was ill, so
Is that for me?
yeah, no, it's for me.
Okay, I'll take
So
the show.
but fortunately I got over that finally.
I'll take the show, thanks.
So, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
got a sister.
I
I'm here to take over. Yeah, and guest chat can start again. Thank you. Yeah, Amarut. So I had an epiphany today. And that is that, family is really important. It's a bond that you inherit. They say you can't choose family. Well, you can choose not to be around family. Now, the mayor of Seattle said no city employees are allowed to go to Mississippi. Wow. No kidding. Mississippi makes a decision, and then voila. The communist-led states like Washington decides to boycott an entire state. That's pretty funny. This suit, you have to spend $5 and go to a thrift store to get this. Yeah. I saw it on the rack. So go to your local thrift store and look around. Pretty nice, huh? For $5. Kind of like a mannequin. Yeah, fix my hair immediately. Thanks in advance. Hey, I'm looking better every day. Looking better every day. So, Wisconsin primary, Cruz and Sanders win in upset frontrunners. Yeah. Wisconsin's always been a swing state, folks. Ever since those the liberal people that were in there decided to take it's like a university state, I think. And they make pretty broad and sweeping decisions. So Bernie wins and Cruz wins. Kind of changed the dimension of this very confused battle. And here I don't even have a chance to get into the race. Censorship and freedom really are the key issues here. If we had the ability to get our ideas out there, a lot of you would probably have good ideas for the country. I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah, if you have to talk about any issue in your area, please feel free to ask questions. I'll try to read chat pretty quickly. I'm a very fast reader. I'm not nearly dead, no. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not nearly dead, but you probably are. I stay pretty healthy. My body is like similar to a 28-year-old. My body is almost like I'm a living Adonis, but don't tell Charlie Sheen that because I think he owned the copyright to that or something. Adonis blood, that's right. I will be the one to win this election. You see, I discovered something. Our country has a incredible gift. We know how to read. Not many countries know how to read. And they know how to write. And you know what this election could be all about? People using their ability to write my name down. That's what it's all about. Writing my name down will defeat the entire two-party system. That's all we got to do is get people to write my name. And I'm going to ask for your signature. All of you. Please, write my name in for the upcoming election. We can overturn the two-party tyranny that is constantly plaguing us. The real problem in our country is the two-party system. The puppets that they choose in their election process are just the cronies and the puppets that will just do their talking. You've seen 7 years of Obama's puppetry. Prior to that, you saw 8 years of George W. Bush and his puppetry, doing what his dad told him to do. So now we're looking at a real problem. It's going on 16 years without even fixing the real problem, the two-party system. So let's not pick a fight with any one of the candidates. Let's just not vote him in. Let's get me to the forefront so I can lead this nation to a top-down restoration of our values and preservation of our environment for our children to come. That's what I envision for this country in the upcoming election. Not some guy who's promising to attack Mexico because he wants him to pay for a fence that I came up with. A 1,000-mile fence, my idea. And he wants Mexico to pay for it. When we've got the people in our prison system that are illegal aliens, we got over 400,000 of them currently in our jail system that could be put to work at the border taking the wire and tying the fencing up, not building a wall. Believe me, chlorine gas, Trump is history. Yeah, we are the new topic of the day. And across the globe, this is a brand new vision for our country, a third party. So if you haven't talked about us to your friends, try at least. Even if it's negative, tell your friends about us. I appreciate that. I'll take any negative and positive advertising at this point. After 7 years of being, thank you, of being censored in my own country, I feel like I'm living in North Korea. The only difference between North Korea and the U.S. is the U.S. has more prisoners. This is true. More prisoners per capita than North Korea. In America, 2.3 people out of every 100 are in jail or in the parole system. I'm serious. In North Korea, it's 1 out of 100. All right, so yeah, we had a little Hillary took a bump there. That's okay. It wasn't her fault. She just couldn't respond to any comments because every time she talks, people think she's a robot. Hello, my name is Hillary Clinton. How are you? Yeah, we've got people on the phone. Operator is standing by. His name is David Sponheim. All right, thank you. So I offer a different set of values for the country. We've got the mobile medical unit is really the backup plan. The other plan we have is a simple nullify Obamacare. Let's start telling all the public hospitals you have got to have certain set fees for everything, and it's got to be published online. And every doctor out there has got to have his medical records out there online to be checked, including malpractice accusations. An online data pool that you can go to when you get sick and you go, yeah, well, I want to find out somebody who's not getting, sued for malpractice in my area. Thank you. $2.99 at the thrift store. I'm serious. It's a Van Heusen. Authentic. All right. Thank you for asking. Means a lot to me. Yeah. So we're actually looking at fixing the problem. A public option is something that shouldn't be mandatory. If you want to spend $60 a month, it's that simple. You'll get medical and dental coverage covered by our system. Our system will include mobile medical unit access in any city, but more importantly, all the public doctors and public hospitals and every nonprofit hospital will have to adhere to the plan. And we'll pay them out of the amount of people paying $60 a month. It's almost a pay-as-you-go plan, but it's a very simple safety net for the American economy that should have been done in 2008. Obama blew it when he didn't put a public option on the table. And the single-payer plan that Bernie supports, that's going to charge 7% to your employer and 7% to your employee to pay for everybody out there. Everybody. It's ridiculous. We already have Medicaid in play. We already have a simple system. The problem is we are getting leeched by all these doctors that are making $200,000 to $500,000 a year. It's incredible. And they keep buying Lexuses and they keep loving their job. Well, of course, who doesn't love making $300,000 or $400,000 a year? I mean, seriously. So we've got these prima donnas walking around who can't even solve healthcare problems. I mean, I swear doctors they have about 10% knowledge of the human body. The rest is all smoke and mirrors. It's hocus pocus. And they haven't even solved the problem with healthcare, with cancer itself. And then I find out that the FDA is somehow suppressing evidence. And so is the CDC on glyphosate, on other things like this vaccine issue with Nangalase. I mean, these are things I could show you. Nangalase, look it up. It's in every vaccine. You want to do the plimp now? Okay. So we need accountability from all these agencies, and we're not getting them. Flat out. We need somebody who can step in their face constantly. Now, I'm one of those proactive guys that gets in everybody's face all the time. I can't help it. In fact, I feel rather restrained living in Washington. I would rather move to D.C. and act as a lobbyist or something than to be in Washington, frankly. But I love the environment out here, and I'd love to help protect it. But it's difficult because I really want to be in there making decisions. I really do. I feel almost held back here. Okay, we're going to take a look at the famous blimp plane. Right. An idea I came up with, and it's pretty interesting. Yes. No, I'm fine. Let me show you Ivanka before and after her makeover. I mean, isn't that amazing? You know, doctors can do amazing work with facial reconstructive surgery and whatnot. I think it's special. It really is. I wouldn't do that myself, but she seems like a beautiful girl either way. Woman, excuse me. But yeah, that's got to be a big decision in a person's life to have your face altered. Thanks to the cast, rock on. Thank you, Eagle as landed says. Thank you. Thanks to the cast. You think Rob Ford was murdered, right? You really do. At this point, do you have any credible evidence that Rob Ford actually was going to have a press conference the day after he died? And he inexplicably died? Could you validate that, Grizzly? Because I know you've been saying this about the late Rob Ford, and, he does have a pretty good crack remix.
I want to release this video. Your mayor. It is what it is, and I can't change the past.
Yes, he is. I just think that we have to look at what happened, and get the facts on this, if you could. I appreciate that. Yeah, he seemed to have had a crack cocaine addiction like Barack Obama when he was at Occidental College and wrote about it in his book, Audacity of Hope. No, I could handle Rob Ford, thanks. Agoraphobic. Are you agoraphobic? Oh, no, I'm not agoraphobic. I go out all the time. I'm very active. I don't know any fat crackheads. He'd be the first if I ever met him, but now he's dead. I'll never meet Rob Ford. Such a loss, I do exercise all the time. My life is almost a constant exercise. Like right now, I'm doing small lifts with my toes. I have weights attached to each one of them. So I'm working all of my different muscle groups. That is what my program calls for. Constant work. Without Sarah, no, I live 3 blocks away, can't lie to me. What? What are you saying? You live 3 blocks away. Yeah. And why are you making these accusations? I think you're out to lunch. Hey, by the way, could you just go away? Let me put you on mute. There we go. We got a person in here who makes weird, anybody could claim they live 3 doors away from a guy. All right. Communism, Survivor, Common Core looks scary familiar. Okay, did you know the truth is that the primary producer of books and curriculum for the Common Core is Pearson Publications, which, by the way, is owned by a Libyan Muslim couple? So Muslims are essentially teaching your children. I have nothing against Muslims, but I don't think that's right. Seriously, for Muslims to be teaching your children. So think about eliminating Common Core entirely when I become president. Okay, scratch that. A lot of things we got going on need to stop. And that's one of them. Kids would be much better off with just a simple kit opportunity where the kit arrives from the government, courtesy free of Uncle Sam, and it arrives, it's got a solar panel in it, it's got a windmill in it, it's got a little robot in it, and all of a sudden your classroom comes alive and you got 25 kids going, oh, I want to know all about that. And then eventually some kids are making the robot, some kids are making the solar panel kit, and other kids are doing the windmill kit. And pretty soon you got everybody doing things that they want to do. That's how to stimulate education. And this country hasn't seen that type of visionary in years. I assure you. We need kids to get involved. And I got to tell you, Hawaii has a really good program. So I anticipate offering Hawaiian educators to come over to the States. We'll give them a free ride to educate in every region and offer free conventions to all the teachers in every single area. And every convention will be, like I said, free and will include food. Okay? Thank you. So you can bring the family. Thank you. I know, am I right? I can speak the language of the American people because I'm one of you. All right. Sarah and I went to a couple of conventions in the area. It was very informative, extremely interesting, and the kids are so excited. That's what we want to educate our kids on. But, Sarah, she was experiencing a situation where some kids just don't want to get involved. They sit and watch the other kids. So those kids really would be better off making whirligigs or solar panel things to fly. I mean, every kid has a different interest. One kid will want to program and do the coding on the robot. Another kid will want to see things spin and want to see the electricity turn into kinetic energy. So, I mean, I'm serious. There's different types of learning that needs to go on, and some people are more inclined to learn another way. So we want to at least offer about 3 or 4 different opportunities for every school to have these kids in different directions. Ted Miltonga says, what will you do for Israel? Well, I've offered to continue funding Israel if they sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement, but if they choose not to, then we would consider economic sanctions. Because we can't keep funding an organization that can certainly live on their own merit now. They have a very strong, robust economy, and there's no reason to give them $7 billion, which is what they're asking. And as far as Iran is concerned, I completely understand Israel's position. We need to stop payment to Iran immediately. Cancel the $150 billion loan guarantee and cash that we've given them. It's crazy. I never would have done that. So in 2017, we will stop all payments with Iran. But Mexico, Trump wants us to force them into illegally, paying for the fence on our property? No. Trump didn't listen to my idea. We don't need Mexico to pay for the fence. We have enough funding in our system right now. Our existing federal prison system has illegal aliens that we're paying $25 billion a year to warehouse every single year. That we could use them at the border fence to do the labor for it, and they'd even make money, $1 a day. So everybody wins. They get their freedom after 3 weeks of labor at the fence. Get away from the idea of being a porn star. One of our viewers wants to be a porn star. Please give me advice. We had a person on our show named Boink who used to come into our show, and he at first he was just playing with his GoPro camera, and then pretty soon he became a porn star. And then his life just led down this rough road where he ended up driving and alcohol was involved, and he got in an accident and he lost his leg. So it just goes to show you that, debauchery may not be the best thing for you. All right? But if you are committed to being a porn star, I want you to, realize that you should be safe and watch, obviously, Boink mentioned to me the Rubber Up campaign, and I thought that was a great idea. Rubbering up, even in the porno industry, I think we need to look at that. He does steal all my ideas. That's true. I don't do that, no. Many of you have no conception of what my life is like, and you judge me with such a vigor that you obviously are threatened by the truth that I constantly evoke in our shows. Wow. You know, the truth hurts. And Truth Tuesday is really a good example of what I do best. I do truth better than anybody in the entire world. Yeah, I'm good at it because I've lived my whole life truthfully and honestly and have pure integrity. And I can rip into your negativity with the truth anytime. Okay, here's the truth. The World Health Organization vaccinated 1,000 people in Guinea following a new Ebola outbreak. Okay. Is that the truth, or is that just one of these Sierra Leone Ebola outbreak situations where we'd never get any justification? Well, this is the first outbreak in Guinea since the original took place in December of 2015, yeah. Well, thanks for the BioPrep Watch news clip. Oh, Rob, you want?
I had it? No. Have I tried? Yes. It's my mistake. I know I have no bank left.
Okay, well, you know, he ran in a crack. His life went upside down. Grizzly thinks he was killed. I'd like to see more information about what he was going to do, the press conference. If you have any information at all, he plans on doing a press conference. Well, there is no truth, 818. I've always admitted the truth. So, yeah, what truth are you asking me to admit? Because I've admitted everything. I'm even writing an autobiography. I should put truth in the name of the title. Never worked as a porn star, ever. No, you got me confused with somebody you've been masturbating to. I know, some of you are, quite the little porn addicts, aren't you? Any of you'd like to come clean about your excessive masturbation addiction? Feel free. Consider this a truth and honesty moment. If it frees you of your guilt and your sin for touching yourself, then you need to stop this behavior, okay? Come clean about your masturbation addiction. I can't stop because I won't stop. We better do this again.
We can't stop.
All right,
and we
thank
won't
you.
Stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop.
So let's be clear. In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Sponheim for president.
We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna
Dance all night, yeah. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop.
Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop.
First we hit 'em low, then we hit 'em high. Underrated, but we made it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Spring to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, then head-on collisions. We make incisions with precision and quick decisions, causing double visions. If you ain't up to speed, you need to speed it up. Partner, piano read.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop.
that was fun. Call me Fitz. We're going to have to ban you, man. We had to pull you out. Yeah, some of the people who are so negative here, who want to vote so much for Hillary meal deal, for only $6.66, you could have 2 fat thighs, 2 small breasts, and a bunch of left wings. So don't forget the new crispy commie recipe the Democrats are cooking up. She doesn't answer to Benghazi. She won't talk about anything. No new ideas. No great plan for America. Just a lot of money from corporations and the New World Order. I rest my case. Yes. That's right. Thank you. Yeah, I just can't imagine another Clinton. It's just, come on. We can do better than that. He wasn't that great. Now, I've got an ocean pipeline to help with the water crisis in California. She doesn't have anything. She's got nothing. Nothing. They got cap and trade legislation. I mean, what's that? More carbon tax? Yeah, right. Like we need that? Yeah, I don't think so. Thank you. Yes, see, you can get a link to the picture. See, I will give it to you mañana. Yes. Give me an email to my email address and I will send it to you. At least we have both experienced the same thing. It was there and then it's gone. You're right. What, your future? I dance better than Brobama? Well, thank you, my man. Ninja Ha laying some truth on me, man. That's cool, Ninja Ha. Thank you so much for coming in. I can speak very good Spanish. I speak over 1,000 different, tonalities out of my voice. My entire voice technology is extremely complicated. The very backbone is run on an octagonal drive, which is operating through a multitude of platforms, interchanged with buses running at rapid speeds. Justin Bieber takes up what? Who cares? Oh, this is Noble Watchman. This has got to be a good link. Let's take a look. Okay. What do we have here? It is officially 2 minutes till the end of our official show.
So this is titled King of the Goyim, and this is sort of an accidental follow-up to my story about Corey Goldstein being a dirty, dirty Jew.
I really don't think anti-Semitism is needed right now, Noble Watchman. I mean, I've never said an anti-Semitic thing in my life. And I don't think it's appropriate to just, hate on people of different races and creeds. I don't like Zionism. That doesn't mean I don't accept Israel as a state and a country. I respect Israel insofar as I think that they're a very solid nation now. And they have a good pathway to peace with the possible state of Palestine. I really believe it's possible. But I'm not going to kowtow to Israel. I'm not going to be the Zionist shill that Trump wants to be. I'm not going to take AIPAC donations. I said that, and I mean it. I will never take AIPAC donations, period. Well, let's be clear. Unlike Barack Obama, who took not only AIPAC, he took whatever PAC he could get. And Clinton, who has literally taken, $2.3 billion in her campaign war chest. Is this ridiculous? Okay. Now you're going to say hello to my little friend. Okay. Tony. Don't ever screw me, Tony. Don't ever screw me. Mr. Salsa, I'm not going to screw you, man. Somebody was asking for my Tony Montana Scarface accent. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, so that was the end of the show. I'm going to wrap it up, but now I do the extended show. For all of you who really want to chat and get down and dirty and talk about what's really going on. Yeah. Whoa, negativity. Ooh. God. Can you believe this? Can you see that chat in there? Somebody said, well, I'm not going to even mention what they said, but it was disgusting. Okay. We would never kill Mexicans purposely on a lethal electric fence. No, there'll be bales of barbed wire. Nobody will be hurt. It'll take days to rip through the bales of barbed wire to even get to the electricity. By the time you get there, you will be you'll be too tired to want to cross over into electric land. Or maybe you'll be so tired you just want to, do yourself in. I mean, that's possible. But no, people won't be able to cross this fence. It'll be impossible to traverse. No, it's not ginger hair. No, it's blonde, natural blonde. At least it said so. Wow. A ginger poser. Can you believe I'm being accused of being posing as a ginger? The point of a lethal defense is that no one can get through it. Yeah, it's not red, no. No, my hair is blonde. People think I am from Guadalajara, but I am from America. Yeah, I met a lot of Mexicans in my life. I used to manage a little print shop operation for a short while, and I speak enough to get by. I know when they're calling me names. Hey, puto! Yeah, I've heard that before. What does puto mean? Could you explain? Cabron. No, I don't make a lethal fence to hurt anyone. No. There's going to be ample rolls of barbed wire in front of it. Believe me, nobody's going to get electrocuted. And by the way, that was Sarah's idea. I'm going to let her back it up. She does a good job. I mean, when you hear a woman talking about wanting a lethal electric fence, you know she wants security. Yes, no. I figured it meant that way. Yeah, a lot of those men looked like they were homosexual. I was wondering why they were calling me that name. I'm not gay. No, I never have, never wanted to be. The whole idea is abhorrent to me. It's disgusting. It's perverted. It's disgusting. The mere thought that you humans could do such things. Well, I don't want to cross the lethal electric fence, no. Hey, welcome, guys. So we came up with the 1,000-mile fence idea. I'm kind of glad in some ways that Donald didn't have any ideas of his own, so he borrowed mine. I'm glad he broke the ice on the 1,000-mile fence because it was a big thing for me. And even the lethal electric, when we started talking about that, he started talking about that then. It's just amazing to me. It'll be solar powered, so there's no question of... We've got a better idea, actually. If we have a problem constructing the fence quickly in certain areas, I'm going to run a guideline across the 1,000 miles. We're just going to roll a 1,000-mile guideline that'll have a sensor on it. And we'll get started right there. We'll work on the sensor. We'll be building sentinels every mile or so, and that'll be our next step. So we get our towers in place, our sentinels in place. Have a long mile, and it's a sensor wire. If anyone crosses it or tries to cut it, we'll know. And then comes the laser sightings and all the different telemetric videonics systems that we put in. And then after that comes the fence piece by piece. But during that process, we're going to be pulling the fencing off of the existing FEMA camp fences up in the northern reaches of our country, which we don't need. There's absolutely no need for FEMA camps in our country. So what I'm envisioning is if we have a problem with the barriers, and by the way, we can deploy an ocean pipeline down there too, near the Rio Grande, just to desalinate and clear water, even if the Rio Grande is contaminated. But say we have an area, a strip of land like Bear that we can get containers to. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the InstaWall. That's right. It's nice, huh? InstaWall gives us the ability to create walls and walls of containers. Yes. No, I'm not gay. Never have been, never will. Thank you. Go away. Go away, you gay people, you bi-curious people. Go away, bi-curious people. Yeah, you really need to go out of here. You find yourself a lover or a furry animal or whatever the hell you're looking at. I knew somebody was thinking of furry animals, and this pops up. Boing! Wild radioactive Fukushima boars breed like rabbits. Ravage local countryside. If this story isn't any weirder, I don't know what could. I'm talking about a furry animal, and this pops up. Northern Japan is raising an alarm as the area around the Fukushima nuclear disaster zone has been overwhelmed by radioactive wild boars, whose population has increased dramatically over the past 4 years, as they breed freely in the exclusion zone. Wow. With the number of animals steadily growing, the boar population has been devastating the crops of farms in the area. Since the nuclear disaster of 2011, damage to the agriculture caused by boars by the Fukushima prefecture has doubled, amounting to some 15 million, according to the report from the Times. 15 million. Boars also pose a threat to public safety, as reports of ravaging wild beasts injuring local residents while roaming the streets have become more frequent over the past few years. How to read a story in less than 2 seconds? Yeah. That is a good idea. Use the animal protein as maybe cover the reactor with the dead carcasses. That might help. Not all states allow sex with animals. The state of Washington had a situation where a person was crushed by a horse. Now, this person believes that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. That's something to look at. Thanks, I guess, Noble Watchman. I'll take a look at that after this show. In Washington, it's no longer legal to actually have sex with a horse. So I think they've made some strides in very big areas. Hey, calling me a closeted gay? That's insane. You're obviously bi-curious, suffering from homosexual panic, and in some way attracted to me. It's a case of me lady doth protest too much. You simply want me. Yeah. That's why you're thinking I'm gay. Right. It's some sort of a sick, perverted fantasy you've got. I will close guest chat. Thank you. It looks like I've got a gay stalker in the room, everybody. Okay. Got cleaning now. It is Admiral, really? I wouldn't doubt it. He's probably the rear admiral. Yeah. Famous bi-curious guy online. Yeah, this is getting out of control. Hey, how are you doing, Queeks? What's going on? Wow, you really have some problems there, buddy. Great post show. Isn't this awesome? So yeah, we have InstaFence standing right next to me. So if you are really having a problem with building that wall, don't listen to the Donald. He doesn't have any new ideas. This is my idea. The container wall. Yes. Gold is at $12.30, up a few dollars, and silver is hanging in there at 15.14. The Dow Jones took a big drop to 603, 17,603. Bummer. Nope, no gay here, man. You're seriously gay yourself. Yeah, all you can think about is gay this, gay that. I think I will close guest chat because these people are just like really out to lunch. Okay, folks, in China, I can't help you. I'm sorry for the way things are in China. Yeah, I really am. You people in Japan, we can help you. I'd like to build a mound on top of Fukushima. That's right. The reactor number 4 is the worst. I think we can do something with that. So I have a plan to cap the back of the reactor itself. And I think I've talked about this in our show. If you haven't seen it, I might as well tell it to you. Some of you just watched our show for the first time. Let me bring this into your focus. Now, it was 2011, and now the wild boars are roaming the countryside. But they've had problems with lithium-ion batteries burning up at the Fukushima reactor. I believe that we could put nickel metal hydride batteries in some large, like Hitachi Land Rovers. And we can get those robotic rovers to actually dig a big, huge trench, which goes hand in hand, by the way, with the plan to... Thank you. The plan to actually put a refrigerator unit in the ground. If you guys have heard about that idea, it's a pretty good idea. But the refrigerator concept is, again, ongoing. They just really started it. It just got the go-ahead last week, which taken 4 years for the refrigerator plan to actually reach fruition, which means things are happening a little too slow. But as president, I will work with Shinzo Abe to acquire a trench around the area using robotic tractors. And these tractors will pull the dirt essentially from this direction. Let me draw arrows. All the way out onto that mound. So this whole thing will spiral up to a mound, and we'll cover reactor number 4 this way. All right? It also completely suffices as a water protection so that the grade going down the hill is 5% grade will not push water running down Mount Fukushima into the Fukushima Bay area. Now, this idea is pretty novel, and I submitted the idea to the director of the IAEA, but he hasn't responded. But as I can show you, the mound itself could very well have when we install the mound, we could actually put a tunnel system in it. So we can actually haul and mine the slurry that's underneath the ground. Now the slurry, as the mound system comes up over here, we could install a hole, a tunnel if you will, into the side, which would be able to pull and extract. And right around here, we could actually build a fast breeder reactor, which could get rid of the remaining spent fuel, which will come as a slurry. It's no longer a spent fuel rod. It's a slurry of corium, which is completely melted plutonium, irradiated uranium, and cesium, and other particles. All right. So we are also included in this process looking at putting a large aircraft carrier, which happens to be the same size as the USS Forrestal, which is still sitting in wet dock, by the way, in Galveston, could be tugboated to that location after they've pretty much opened the whole belly of it to be sunk. We sink it right there to block the opening. That keeps the irradiated water from actually getting out of the bay and helps mitigate the damages of this horrendous disaster. Now, I would have done this in 2011 had I been your president, but again, the guy with all the great ideas doesn't get any news play whatsoever. Welcome to America. Ford is going to invest $1.6 billion in something. Well, isn't that special? They're going to put a new plant in Mexico. So while Ford is building a new plant in Mexico, Trump wants to charge a 40% tax on every single car company building cars in Mexico. That's one of the things he said. Wow.
It's $1 billion investment that will create more than 2,800 jobs by 2020 outside of the United States. Ford Motor announced its plans Tuesday to build a plant in Mexico to build small cars. The plan comes in the midst of a presidential election in which jobs leaving the country has become an issue in both parties. Ford made the announcement
despite public pressure from Donald Trump to scrap the plan. However, Ford's vice president said the company has to compete globally and noted that they are still an American company that's hired 25,000 U.S. workers in the past 5 years.
Yeah, that's significant, 25,000 U.S. workers. You know, Donald Trump doesn't seem to understand how products are developed overseas. Companies do whatever they have to do to make money. I would rather see a U.S. auto corporation run by our government directly than to have people like Trump involved, or pushing Ford to the edge where they are forced to hire U.S. employees. I mean, we also saw what CardCheck did, or the idea of CardCheck, and how the government and the unions and Obama pushed companies like Boeing into forcing them out of operating in right-to-work states where people who are non-union should be able to work. But according to Obama, he stopped that. I would not stop the free process of negotiations, both in labor and private unions. I think getting involved in that is a mistake. However, I don't like public unions. I think public unions are getting too big. That's a big problem. I'm really concerned about that, the growth of public unions. Yeah. Well, we see how they keep regenerating with more money, and this idea of fair pay. You know, that they're getting money just to. What are we looking at here? Okay. Thanks for sharing. Apparently there's no way to actually fast forward that. All right. It's not a wall, it's a fence, Cam. Yeah. But thanks for your concern. It's okay, you don't have to go over the fence. It's not your problem. Yeah. Well, bimbos. You're calling Sanders a bimbo? Why don't you just call him a commie, which is what he is? I mean, let's not spare words here. If he can get on the ballot, there's hope for someone as intelligent and innovative as yourself. Surely he could become a real viable candidate. I agree, Queeks. But again, the censorship is so strong, it's almost beyond your wildest comprehension. We are looking at completely censored media, using the powers and control of money and ruling elites to limit access to information. It's as though they're controlling the dialogue, or the dialectic, as you call. The left and right, basically, they keep the whole thing, it's a complete game to make it seem like we are living in a land of choice, when in fact there is no choice. Okay, Vax, the ABC News interview that Big Pharma didn't want you to see, is coming up next.
The decision to run a controversial documentary about vaccines has Robert De Niro at the center of a big screen backlash.
Okay, I'll be playing that. This is a completely banned ABC interview. It just completely was pulled off the air. It was all about Vaxxed, and this is the story that's been heating up about the dangers of vaccinations. The truth was Dr. Thompson, or Mr. Thompson at the CDC, said categorically that they lied and they withheld lots of information in authorizing vaccines. So this is a huge reveal the mainstream media has been shutting down, and that you will have a chance to find out more about at the end of our show at 9:30. All right? Now we'll just continue taking questions from the serious users here who are not obviously bi-curious and trying to make this whole show into, calling me names. I can't get over what I have to put up with sometimes. I told Sarah, I said, it's like they've got nothing. They got no argument against what I say, so all they do is come in here and call me names. It's really pathetic. It's sad. It's sad that the country's become so ruled by so many trolls who think they can get away with whatever they want on the internet. And frankly, there's got to be some controls that we could implement against real abuse. It is total fag projection. I agree, Cams. Good point. So, obviously, creating an ocean pipeline, getting desalination going is really critical to helping the nation get fresh water. That's something that we've been talking about. But the way that this does it is seawater comes in the middle here and evaporates on the inside of a closed container, and the evaporation is pure water. Yeah. Absolutely 100% pure evaporated water that dehumidifies and then humidifies and then drops into the reservoirs along the side here, where we would store that fresh water for potable drinking purposes and growing food. So this is an ongoing process that just keeps collecting more and more fresh water. The use of this system actually could create reservoirs of huge amounts of reclaimed water that could be used for any number of things, even lakes. I mean, the possibility of having a massive lake out in the middle of the desert of fresh water, lined lake, lay plastic down and bring fresh water in is absolutely really possible. And it could be pure water too. Plus, we can grow fish. We can raise populations of shellfish. We can raise shrimp in here in the saltwater swells. We can create a biosphere. I mean, you have no idea what this could turn into. And the entire nation could easily support a larger population. And the rich people don't have to profit from everything. That's the best part about this. We're talking about desalination here. Yes, that is correct. That is correct, sir. Yeah, we're going to adhere to our Constitution. Absolutely. We need to get back to our original country, the United States of America, Noble Watchman. Yeah, we have lost our country. Our country is currently in bankruptcy. That's the truth. March 9th, 1933, our country was placed in permanent bankruptcy. Nope, we will not be allowing any pig crap into the shrimperies. The shrimp will be raised on a healthy supply of algae. Yes, which will be microbially removed from the sidewalls of our inner chambers by robotic bumpkins. Nanorobots that scrub the surfaces and travel through the water. Or we'll just forget the robots and just get a series of frogs. They work too. Suckerfish. There you go. Right. We'll feed the shrimp suckerfish. David, I have the answer to the chemtrails and global warming. You really have to watch this. The global warming deception. Okay, we'll find out what the global warming deception is all about. This looks good. Yeah, prophecy revealed. All right. Sounds like a good video to play tonight. And then we got Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. This guy who claims that he thinks Black Lives Matter is some sort of a terrorist group. I don't know if that's true, but it's worth looking at. I'm always open to new ideas. Good. Well, I think we've established a lot of new ideas tonight, and for the love of God, I'm going to open up guest chat. Let's try to keep the homosexual ideation and panic down to a minimum. Okay? Thanks. Because I do want people to chat in the evening here when I go do Netflix and chill and cuddle. When I spoon with Sarah. All right. Yes. All right, it's been fun, hasn't it? Yeah. Exciting. It's difficult to do 3.5 hours, but we pull it off every night. I'm inspired by the fact that we have such corrupt people running for office that I might have a chance. Yeah. It really is kind of amazing. It's been so weird. You heard about the thing Ted Cruz allegedly made calls to Deborah Palfrey, the DC madam that killed herself, allegedly, right before she was going to spill the beans on 9/11. I said a lot in a few seconds. Yeah, Deborah Palfrey, the DC madam who was going to talk about 9/11 and then died, claimed she would never commit suicide. Ted Cruz made phone calls to her numerous times soliciting her funding and services. Yeah, big news in the blogosphere. Yeah. The most lame duck president in the history of America will be leaving the office pretty soon. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, great show, huh? Thanks for hanging out. Hope you guys relax, take a nice shower, get some good Z's, recuperate, refresh, start another day. I'm always doing good work. That's what I do. I'm above average. Unlike him, who's just a puppet, we need a president who is not part of the ruling elite and who's not viable. He's too viable. He's too controllable. He's too much of whatever they want to make him. And I don't like that about him, and it's been a real problem. And Big Pharma tells everybody what they want to do. Yeah, it somehow got to the great actor Robert De Niro, in charge of the Tribeca Film Festival with a child of autism, and was unable to speak out as a man and say he's going to play it, was caving in to pressure from somebody in the big pharma industry to not play this amazing movie, Vaxxed, a documentary revealing the truth about a whistleblower at the CDC who showed people the actual statistics that were disturbing and mind-blowing about the FDA's approval, the CDC's approval of vaccinations, allowing them to be used when 38% of the black kids that were tested with one of the MRSA vaccine, 38% came down with autism. And the CDC whistleblower said that he was forced to get rid of that paperwork. He was actually the guy who shredded it. And then later his conscience got to him and he actually revealed that he had kept copies of all of that and that he was told to lie about the safety of vaccinations. The things they stick in our bodies. Can you believe that these are the people running our country? I'm like floored. Every day I hear about this and I'm going, wow, we need a third party like no other. We have no accountability here in this government. It's almost like they've been running by, our entire government seems to be run by thugs. Yeah. Thuggery. Absolute thuggery. And that's what I'm dealing with. That's what the reality that this is the country I was born into is not sitting well with me. And that's why I do the show. In case you're wondering, I will not stand for this. I will not stand for this evil to persist in our nation after the death of John F. Kennedy, and now big, huge false flags after false flags. Lately, we've seen nothing but false flags. We've seen the Brussels account. Tonight we'll be playing videos into the evening till 2 in the morning. You're going to hear all these alternative views about the Brussels, recent Brussels attack, claiming it was fakery. Oh, I've got some good stuff ahead for you. And then we're going to go back in time into the Paris shooting and talk about that for all of you. Yeah. So we'll play a few videos to start with, but this is all about getting to the truth. And one thing that I can guarantee is true, and this is a fact going back all the way to Abbottabad, when they claimed that they attacked Osama bin Laden, that was BS. Total BS. We still haven't seen any evidence. There's a common link between all these events is a lack of evidence. And I'm not going to even mention the fact that they didn't even give Justice Scalia an autopsy. A justice of the Supreme Court didn't even get justice. And everything about that death was suspicious. He was actually found with a pillowcase over his head. I mean, it reeks of suspicion out there. So yeah, you need a third-party president, but you don't need a guy who's going to put his head in the sand like any number of other people out there I can think of. Donald will not commit to 9/11 even being an inside job. He's never said those words, ever. Donald doesn't care about ending the Fed. He's no doubt used the Fed's leverage when he got out of 4 major corporate bankruptcies. Donald essentially is part of the ruling elite. I mean, everything about him and a third party makes me want to puke. Me, I'm an average American. I understand what we're all going through. I can relate. I've been doing this for 8 years. He thinks his money can buy what I've created and crafted and a great platform for this country to save this nation. What a joke. It's just really, really sad. Okay, Cams, thanks for coming in. We're going to go ahead and ban you. We're not welcoming you here. Yeah. We just tested you out. You didn't make the cut. You're not a supporter of my campaign. You're worthless to me. I hate to say it, but I mean, as a human, I care about you. But as a campaign participant in the show, you're gone. We want nothing to do with you. Yeah, death was suspicious. He was actually found, the pillowcase over his head. And I've given you guys a major cowbell come down tonight. And I want to, so out of that, I want to give you I want to end our show on the 12 hours of cowbells. So I have 12 hours of cowbells here off YouTube I can play. Yeah. Coming from the 12-hour movie specialist with over 21,000 subscribers. Would you prefer 12 hours of Hillary laughing? I can do that too. I was just helping some of the people who have cowbell come down effects. Many people are still grazing no. Yes. They can't get out of the pasture. Cowbells help with your tinnitus, I know. Many of you are suffering from various ailments due to the lack of cowbell. Oh, I know. I hear you. Okay, so we all are sharing a similar nightmare. We're realizing how corrupt our country is. So you can come to our show anytime. You're invited. Except if you want to just run your mouth off about Trump, please. I don't need to hear the 20 plus reasons not to vote for Trump. The 20 plus reasons not to vote for Trump. Da, 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 da. I should do a Christmas song. Have it roll out in November or in October. Da, 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 da. 20 plus reasons not to vote for Trump. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, here you go. This is the link to post all around the internet if you guys want to get active. You can also post America's Third Party, the link itself. You know, find out more at AmericasThirdParty.com. But this will work. That'll take you to the 20 plus reasons not to vote for Trump, which I think are pretty cool. We laid them out there. Whoop, don't click that link. Yeah, wrong link. Sorry. Hang on. I didn't do it right. Yeah. My bad. Thank you. Yeah. Very sorry. Big apologies to all of you. That should work. Whoops. Let's test it out first. Thank you. You don't like Robert De Niro? Okay. Waiting. We're getting DDoS. Taking time. Taking time. Waiting for delicious. You don't want to talk about De Niro? Okay. Yeah, it's still loading. I understand. What's going on? Is everybody hitting on this link? Oh, I liked Robert De Niro. Are you looking at me? Are you looking at me? I mean, I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy. I just feel like he's been pressured. If the song is a hit, everyone will know you. That's really rude. 3447. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to leave. Are you looking at me? Are you looking at me? Are you talking to me? Okay. Yeah, it's just not coming in. What the heck's going on? That's not cool. Maybe I'm in the wrong browser. Let's try a different browser. Hold, please. Huh. That is weird. I wonder if the site's been attacked. I wouldn't doubt it. It's entirely possible. Really? Heidi Cruz filed for divorce twice for him cheating? Adultery? Wow. I know they stopped De Niro's Vax movie, but I'm just trying to find out what's going on. You think he was pressured? Yeah, that's not coming in. It's very suspicious. Yeah. Very suspicious. It's a true story? Really? I believe you. Yeah. But exactly. So Heidi Cruz filed for divorce twice for him cheating. So you're saying that basically Ted Cruz cheated on his wife and did contact Deborah Palfrey, the Washington, D.C. madam, and here he's pretending to be a Christian and a God-fearing man? I mean, we're dealing with some of the worst kinds of people. I hear you. What about this little link I have here of Ted Cruz talking about himself? Oh, this is a weird link. Let me show it to you. Yeah, very suspicious. Yeah, we're getting hosed over there. They shut down the delicious.com link. I was going to post it, but you can't even get to it. So don't go to that site. Obviously, there's something happening. Yeah, somebody's DDoSing that site. They're shutting it down. I'm amazed. Yeah, they're really working on overtime to shut us down. Okay, let's see. We've got a little bit of Ted Cruz. Listen to Ted Cruz when he was a young man. Check this out.
Aspiration. Is that like sweat on my butt? No. Oh, I see. What you want me to do, what I want to do in life. Well, my aspiration is to, I don't know, be in a teen fit film like that guy who played Horatio. You know, he was in Malibu Bikini Beach Shop. Well, other than that, take over the world domination, you know, rule everything, rich, powerful, that sort of stuff. Aspiration. Is that like sweat on my butt? No.
Yeah, that's Ted Cruz for you, everybody. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so sick and tired. And even Donald has said, don't be surprised if issues of infidelity don't come up in his run for the presidency. I'm sure Hillary would work him over on that one. Yeah, there's all these implications. Donald Trump was actually in the black book of none other than Jeffrey Epstein. We have a link to that in our site. Yeah, so the link is up and running now, folks. So, yeah, let me show it to you real quick, and I'll just give you a little taste of why you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump. I've got over 20 links here, 24 links now. There's of course, Donald Trump ties to the Gambino crime family. That's the newer one. That's a good one. Melania Trump naked. Yeah, that's something else. Roy Cohn, the most troubling Trump link you'll ever read. This talks about his family roots and what they did to gain wealth in New York. How much do you really know about Trump? That's a real good. Women talking in Trump's words about things he says about women, which is really disturbing. A copter crash many of you didn't even know happened in 1989. The three men that were going to testify in his corporate bankruptcy, I believe it was for Resorts International and other hotels, were actually in a crash. They're very suspicious, and I was told that he was going to be on that flight. I can't corroborate that, though. I'm not saying that he did anything. I'm just saying it's interesting to know. And then report Trump's dad was arrested in 1927 Ku Klux Klan brawl with police. Yeah, that's a good one. Trump tells police to remove a black man from a rally who was there to listen to the campaign, the candidate. Voicemails reveal Donald Trump's cozy relationship with the liberal media. That's an interesting little piece, too. Police revealed Trump told them to kick black people out of a rally. This is for real. I mean, they really are kicking black people out of his rallies. Trump promised harsh media criticism of him will be illegal if he's president. So he's completely off his gourd if he thinks he's going to implement that. It's a violation of freedom of speech. Anybody can question or criticize a president. He doesn't understand freedom of speech. That's serious. That's a red flag. That's a serious red flag. And then you got page 2 and 3. So yeah, have fun, guys. Post the links. I'm going to say goodnight. No, it's a violation for him to even consider that. Again, 20 plus reasons. You need to get it familiarized. And that other link in there, there's Gawker's analyzing his income. There's all kinds of things. Oh yeah, good stuff. 20 plus reasons not to vote for Trump. It's a big list. I mean, it's not a short list. It's a big list. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So it does work now. Well, let's be clear. I do have a LinkedIn, but I don't use it. Yeah. It's too costly. I don't want to bother. Trump is a plan to drive votes to Hillary, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. But I think we can interrupt the flow and just give good, solid solutions to the problems in the country. And that alone will defeat Hillary, because she doesn't have any new ideas. And Bernie doesn't either. We just need media time at this point. So we're still within distance of the election, 6 months out. We can do this. It's not impossible. It's like saber fighting for polar bears, but that is an outstanding GIF. Wow. Somebody went out of their way on this one. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to go spend time with Sarah and kind of hang out and Netflix and chill, everybody. So thanks. We'll be playing videos, though. I'll be back in here to chat with you guys all the way to 2 in the morning. So thanks for coming in, everyone. I appreciate it. Take care.
But late tonight, a new twist. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has more.
Well, the audio's kind of screwed up on this.
Tonight,
Copy
the film festival Robert De Niro started under fire. The Hollywood heavyweight initially defending the screening of a controversial new film that many are